Well, good evening, everyone. It's your host with the least, Sergeant Friday, coming to you from Beijing, China, atop the tower we call the Cock Tower, with your network of Your Ass Hurts News Network. And you got to be proud of the name Your Ass Hurts News Network, only because I've sent many people out of here with their ass hurting to the point where they all try to come back. Quite amazing. It's quite amazing. Now, let me see here. Hang on one second. Jesus. Anyway, let me just say, what was that? Good evening there, SHT and all chat. I don't know who SHT is. Echoes of Clarity. What up? What up? What up? People starting to populate the room. We got 12 people over here. I got to check out my Twitter. We are going to cover stuff from Lana. I do got to change my banner. Now let me see. Let's see. Do I get rid of this one? All right. How about this one? I could change this. Let's see. I'll stop the ticker. I'll hide the ticker. And I'll put in here. I'll edit this. And put up a new banner. Something I don't know. I'll have to explain it when it gets up there. But maybe we can all come together to help one of our own. If not, we can't. But we can at least try. And let me start out with this. All right. So let me do that. Bam. Let's see if we can help Dego out. Why don't we start out with that and we can start to rumble up. What up, people on Rumble? I'm the only viewer of myself on Rumble that sounds so vain. I probably think the show is about me. Don't you? Don't you? You're so vain. My day is always a good day. Even a bad day is a good day for me. I think my bad days, most people would consider good days. But then again, I don't know. I can only walk in the shoes that fit my feet. And, from that observational point, look, I'm also on cam again. I'm here on cam. I'm getting some text messages here. And, yeah. So let me just say, our good friend Dego is having some serious issues. As some of you may or may not know, he's able to spend this time on the internet trying to earn some side money because he's been disabled for quite some time, and apparently his texting skills haven't been disabled though. So let's see what he's got now. Let's see. All right, let's see if that calms down for a minute. Anyway, listen. So anyway, he's having some money problems, and his electricity has been turned off. His kid just graduated, which is a good thing. So he's raised this kid, got him through school, got him to graduate. Very, very, very good. But a lot of you may not know that he's been disabled. Some of you may notice that big scar on the side of his head. And I don't know the specifics, but breathing issues. So he's got more issues than maybe people would suspect because he's able to sit and converse with us. But sitting and conversing is really not some kind of skill that you can actually go out and get a job to do with it. But it is also, the reason why he does that is because he's pretty limited in his mobility and stuff and his breathing. And anyway, so what I'd like to do, if we can all, if maybe some of us can put up some money to help him with this electric bill, I'll match whatever donations are made or whatever are pledged. Or maybe you don't want to help at all. That's fine too. But I told him I was going to do this. He told me that I shouldn't, that, people will talk shit and he's only out here for money. And, in some instances, you got to say that that's true for most, if not all of the streamers are out here trying to find $1. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think the array of topics he covers and, he does pretty good with what he's doing. He brings us a lot of these missing kids and brings us a lot of the stuff on Karen Reed and Delphi and the Idaho 4 and things he was doing long before I ever showed up. And so I figure, if people in the community would like to put forward some money, I promise I'll match that dollar for dollar to see if we can't help dig him out of this utility bill. Which for me, I used to when I had a tough way with income too. I can honestly say that I remember being put on a budget in an attempt to help, supposed to help you. And all that budget did was fuck you up. Hang on one second, folks. Yeah. You lying motherfucker. July 4th. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Oh, July 4th is next Friday. Oh, I thought it was Wednesday. Look at how about a waste of a fucking phone call. Well, yeah. I did. I know my kindness just fucking it just pours out of me. It's unimaginable you could ever meet and be around anybody as kind as me. All right, well, my bad. I swear I've been thinking it's going to be Wednesday, so I didn't set anything up for Monday. I'll try to do that tomorrow. But I don't, we'll see what happens. But all right, well, do me a favor when you get out there, just run a tape on that roof, because I'll be going to B&L the first thing, and yeah, make sure it's right. And then what time are you going to be out there? Hey, that's your famous last fucking words. It's almost, yeah, I think you're on Central Standard Time, but that's okay. No, that's 3 hours behind us. You'd be early. You're on European time, like. Yeah. You're ahead of us, so yeah. All right, then I'll talk to you tomorrow. Business, folks, business. See, this is what I don't know how to do, Seahawk. I don't know. I don't know how or where people can donate. I really don't. I imagine, though, if people want to make pledges, those people that make pledges, if you want to commit to a certain dollar amount, I'll put that dollar amount from you and then have you communicate directly with me to send it to me. And like I said, I'll match dollar for dollar, but there is a minimum we need, and I'll talk to people that if people want to communicate directly with me, maybe I should have my email address or something out here. I don't know what he's got. Does he got a Cash App? He might have. He's got his stream. And well, look at that. Dagbird Johnny Google's dead, Floozy's mother. So that puts me in for 50. So that's 100. I mean, he doesn't he, Seahawks fan? I don't know if people can. Because like you guys know, I'm not monetized. I don't come out here I come out here to empty this fucked up brain of mine amongst, strangers, basically. I could just say I'm fine money-wise. And in this situation, I mean, some of it, we just lost one creator, one who was that just passed away, and that's the second one in as many months that passed away. But we all interact with each other, and we all gather around each other, and he does put up that stream. He does do a good job. Doesn't mean you should be entitled to pay the guy money, but you could see him for what he is. He's a nice guy, and he's having a rough time. But on the other hand, like I just said, his kid graduated high school, so even when times are tough, the effort to do the right thing, he takes time off the streaming so that he can hang out with his kid and has movie night, and the streams he would sometimes have music night. So he's been, based on his physical abilities, he does the best he can do. And like I said, I've had some disagreements with the dude, and I've talked right to him about it. And so we all are fucked up in our own unique way. We all have our own story. And I was talking to him today. I didn't see him come on the stream, so I texted his phone. I'm like, "What's up?" Then we talked I called each other, and And so we got, does he got a Cash App? He does. And I don't know if somebody, a moderator or somebody, can get that link to his Cash App. I'll pin it to my stream. And let's see what we can do. It is what it is. It's in his channel description, Virginia. Are there any moderators that can haul that shit over here? If possible. I mean, you're in moderation for something. For something. Do something. Yeah, he has a PayPal and a Cash App link. So, and if you could filter to me exactly what you guys want to, what you're capable of sending, I will match it. There is an amount that he needs. And really he needs about, well, he got his electricity got turned on. He got behind in his bills. And you guys know he didn't get behind in his bills because he's drinking or drugging. He's on a limited income where he is. And he raises his family, his kids the best he can. His wife works. And like I was trying to say, I was put on a budget for my electrical bill when I was having money issues a long time ago. And then so many months later, they send me this one big whopper of a fucking bill. Supposed to be on a budget. Well, the payment that you're making on the budget seems like reasonable, and you think like you're paying your utility bill, but you're not. And in the end, what ends up happening is they send you a fucking bill to correct it. I don't see any link in there. Why is this saying Bethany Funk's exculpatory evidence? I got to go live. I'm sorry. That's it. All right. Anyway, they equal out your payments. So let's say you make 10 payments of $150, but that's your budgeted payment, but the payment should have been $190. And so you're short $40 a month every fucking month. And before you know it, you're out $400, $500, $600. And if you don't give them the damn money, then what? Then you have no fucking electricity. That's what. So, they got these programs that on their face, they seem like they're there to help the guy in trouble. But you know how that works. When it fucking rains, it pours. And I'm a guy that I hate the pretense of kindness. I hate the pretense of helping. I hate the pretense of anything. And a lot of these things that people think are good for the public or helping people or helping, it's not. So what do we got here? We have Aggie, AGGIE for 50. We have someone else in here for 50. And I don't know what to do to help the guy other than we're all apart. We're all invested in each other to some extent, not literally with any cash. Dag Burn, Johnny Gable's dead floozy mother gave 50. I'm not writing that fucking name down. I'm just going to call you the floozy. I'm sorry. I ain't writing that whole name down. What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, so we got you for 50. So that's, and 50 from Aggie, that's 100. And the past, what's got to be paid, I don't know. I think it's 1,600 is the goal. But literally, you guys only got to come up with the 800. I just said and you don't have to. Let me just, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to be reasonably helpful, to an extent where it'll do something for the guy. I'm not sure if he can pay a portion of the bill and get it turned back on, if that helps, or I don't think he can, from my understanding of the discussion I had with him today. They want their money, or he's going to be fucking, I don't know. Maybe he's going to turn his shit into candle wax somehow. I have no idea. I don't know. But I know I've been there before, man. Yeah. So, all right. So that's it. Who's this? Tim Tippy Hardware Collider sent $10. Can somebody put that link? Someone said they did. But Dagburn and Aggie doesn't like me, but I do have compassion. I'm in the same position. Good luck, David. So Aggie said she'll throw up 50. Dagburn said she'd throw 50. That's 100. We just got 10. Well, it's an accumulation, just so you know, Demon Dog. Especially when you do that budgeting stuff. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, when they adjust that bill for accuracy, the budget never the budget's always fucking short. So they tell you to pay $100 a month. You should have been paying $150 a month. So why the fuck do they? But they're supposed to take an average, and it never works out that way. And then you get price increases in there. You get this, you get that, and then when they want to finalize the bill. Yeah. Well, I don't want to pat myself on the back. Like I said, I'll help to where I can help, and I like to drag other people in there with me. So I don't know how good of a guy I am. You're going to make my cold, dead heart weak. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to make my live, living, beating heart cry or smile, throw some money in the pot. So far, we're good for $110. Looks like. Let me know also. Take a screenshot, show me that you guys sent the money, and I don't know what this sounds like. So I'm not really trying to beg for anything. I'm just saying, can we help a guy out? I mean, why the fuck not, right? Why the hell not? And so, whatever we can raise, I said I'll do dollar for dollar matching, whether it's $1 or however much it is, man. Don't go too wild and try to empty Sarge's pockets, though. Don't be trying to raise $5,000 for Dego, and then thinking Sarge are going to just throw $5,000 in the pot. I'll find each of you donors individually and kick your ass. Don't be digging too deep into Sarge's little pockets. There'd be more room in my pockets if it wasn't in the way. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for pickpockets, or I'd have no sex. So, yeah. For those of you that can make donations, and I don't see the link. Someone said they posted the link. I don't know where the link is, where you're saying that. Let me see here. A link to Dago's thing. Let me find out where you get that. Gets you a pubic hair. Yeah. If you women want to donate, listen. I'll take a hit for the team and whore myself out for some of the money if that's what you want to do. I'm fine. Great Pearls can't post links. Great please. Well, then you post a link, Blue Boy. Twizzle Stick. The best way to get rid of Twizzle Stick is tell them to call. And Twizzle Stick just fucking vanishes on you. Man, I'm going to drive to Idaho and just burn that state the hell down. I don't know how to get to the link. I don't know anything about the money stuff on the internet, folks. That's it. I was at the DR. At the doctor's. You always got an excuse. This guy's got more legitimate excuses, apparently legitimate, than anybody I've ever met. They all sound legitimate, but I don't think they're true. I think truth is just blowing me off and makes good excuses for it, though. So it's kind of hard to, I don't know if they're excuses. That's the catch-22 with it all. Is he blowing me off and making an excuse, or is it true? It's one of them mysteries, man. It's like, I don't know. Like, why is our solar system surrounded by an Oort cloud? Why did they call it an Oort cloud? Why is Jupiter called Jupiter? Who made the rules to let people name each bird the name it's got? Why is a grasshopper, and a fly, and a bee, and why isn't it the other way around? Who got to name these fucking things is what I want to know. Right? It is what it is, though. So I don't know. I think we're up as high as $110. So, I can auction myself off to the highest bidder, but don't be a dude. I'm just saying, man. I ain't going that far for this guy. I'll take one for the team, but I do have my fucking limits. What else here? And I did slick the hair back for those of you that were curious what it would be if I were a hitman, what my hair would be like. See, he's over there chasing Meg in Discord. What the hell's the matter with you there? Yeah, why aren't you on my Discord channel, Meg? That shit ain't right. Come on now. Good God. Scientific nomenclature is Latin, and it's who discovers the specimen. Whatever with your specific correct answer. That's not what I was looking for, you weed smoker. You smoke too much weed. Look at you. I'm putting her back on the screen. It's better to look at. Oh, not that. No. Where'd she go? There she is. We're bringing Meg back. Meg P. Yeah, Unfucking believable. SRB, thanks for. But did anybody come on? One of you moderators? Have any of you got the link to Dego's connection? I'll pin it in the stream. Right. So if one of you moderators, can you Twizzle Stick, True Tomboy Charm, Grant? I got to name this? Who else is in here? The SRB, aren't you a moderator? I gave you moderator status. What the hell is up with that? I thought for sure she was a moderator. All right, well, now you're a moderator, and your first task is to get the link to where we can help Dego out. How about that? All right, so now you're a moderator. SRB isn't. Well, we need a link for his Cash App or something, Dego. Because we're trying, I'm in here trying to see if we can't raise some money for his electric bill. Yeah, I could use more mods. Here, I can make you a mod. I'm on YouTube, right? I got to do that from YouTube. Maybe that's why. All right, so look, I'll tell you what. And for everybody that donates money, I will make you a moderator in my channel, which does not preclude you from ever being banned if you become a dickhead. Just be aware. Okay? Aggie, you're now a moderator. Okay, you're a moderator. Where's that person? Yeah, the dead floozy person. Where are you? You're a moderator. Add as a moderator. Wow. All right. How you like them fucking apples? Alicia needs to be a mod. Tomboy Charm. Look at giving orders over here. Easy, Tomboy Charm. Easy. She is a moderator. No, she's not. Man, I'm working awful hard over here, Dego. If you're not watching, you can't watch. And the day you do come and watch this stream, I'm just a saying. So we're going to, oh man, where's that tweet? Where'd it go? That's like, no, God damn it. How do I pin message? All right, the message is pinned. No, we're not undoing it. Man, this is some work. I'd be building up a sweat if this was anything like real work, just to be fair and honest with you. Anything is appreciated. There you go. PayPal Mayorsis at Cash App. There you go. And keep a record that you PayPal'd Mayorgas or Mayor. I don't know the fuck you say his name. I'm going to call him Dego. I think his phone may have died. It may, in fact, be true. Yeah, I did add Alicia as a moderator. I made Seahawks a moderator. But let me get the total of what you guys are sending so I can match it dollar for dollar. What did Demon Dog do? What did Demon Dog do? Tell me, what did Demon Dog do? You know? I remember one time, and this is a true story, folks. I went on TV for a not-for-profit where they were giving help to people with 12-step programs, basically drug and alcohol addiction. And they were providing the space and the facility for them to have their meetings. And a local bar wanted to buy this building out because the building's a very attractive, very valuable building in a main place of part of town, main drag, and a very nice main drag part of town. And it was 8,000 square feet, so a significant building. And it was being rented. And the people renting it were then renting it back, per meeting to the people that had their 12-step meetings. And somebody tried to come in and buy it, a bar owner. Right here, these people are helping alcoholics. Now a bar wants to take the alcoholics building, the recovery building, and turn it into a fucking bar. So I went on TV and in roughly 40 hours raised $50,000 for the down payment, and was able to buy and save that building to keep the bar the fuck out of there and keep the place intact for the people in recovery. That's probably one of the most significant things in life that I've done. And I don't want anybody no accolades, but I'm just giving an example. Sometimes if you can help, you do help, is the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, there you go. Always appreciated, never expected. Yes, SRB, thanks. If you can keep repeating that message throughout the stream, I'd greatly appreciate it. So, no, it wasn't named the 13th step. I don't want to give you the name because then you'd be localizing to where I really am. And I am in New York, but I don't want to give up exactly where I am. It's Twist. So if anybody donates money, can you please excuse me, take a screenshot or snap a shot with your phone or hold a receipt of some sort so that I can get the total of the donations and then match those donations. That would be very, very helpful. Otherwise, I can't keep my end of the bargain. At this point, I thought there was $110 committed, maybe more. But also, if you're gonna donate to try to help, let's help knock out his electric bill. Then, it would be nice to know who's doing it so we can personally thank you, right? And then, I mean, if you look like Meg, I'll personally drive out and thank you. Voila! Get out of the way, Twiz. I don't think you can afford the tastes that Meg would require for happiness. So, thanks for posting that, though. Yeah, I mean, pin that, Sarge. Well, how do I just pin that one? Put user in time. Ooh, I almost put Twizzle stick in timeout. Yikes. Where did he go? There he is. I got SRB pin. Now you want me to pin you. How do I pin both of you? I could replace the pin message. There you go. Okay. That helps. I appreciate it. Good evening, Friday. I don't get paid till Friday, but on Friday I can send a donation to help Dego. I'd appreciate that. And you paid 20 on Venmo, so now we're up to $130 as far as I can tell. All of you that have given Dego some money, don't be worried. We don't care if it was 1 penny. 1 penny and up. Please post in my chat room that you did send him money so that I have a total that I can then send him money to match it. Okay? And also thank you for doing it. Because Dego didn't want me to do this. And yeah, don't worry, SRB. I definitely, that's why I also pinned the image of Meg. I picked what I thought at this particular day would be a couple of good things to pin. And he did put one up there. So Twizzle, I appreciate it. But let's get back on. I'll get to the stream. I'm not going to spend the whole evening, but I am going to remind people to, if they can, post what you've donated in the chat room. And that would be appreciated by me so that I can then keep my word. Let's see here. I don't have Venmo. But then I can keep my word. Okay. Now, there is something I want to bring up. Now, some of you are very sensitive because I know that I am known for being kind of a dick. And I think a lot of people naturally assume $8 for Harris. That's awesome. I think people naturally assume when I bring up other streamers, it's to criticize or attack and that is not always true. Although it is, it's not the wrong point of view to have. In fact, I mean, yeah, I like I said, I am a dick. But I brought Lana up a few times and never in any negative way, ever in a negative way. Right? I mean, I said if she don't get rid of that fucking beep, I'm not going back to her stream. Right? And that's that. That was nothing negative about her. That would drive me fucking every 45 seconds. Beep. It's like, damn, girl, get rid of that. Some of her conclusions are constructed in the same way that I construct my conclusions. And so we got $10 from the wolf. All right. Yeah, I wish you would have said something earlier about this. Anyway, what was I going to say? Anyway, Lana did a stream today, and I don't know why my camera's positioned like that. Camera. I'm flipping off the camera, folks. Why, thank you, Grant. So we did get another. We got $10 in here from Virginia Wolf. I feel like Jerry Lewis doing a telethon. You want to know? And I'm loving it. I don't know if I got any good jokes, but I do know when I was a kid, I was so unpopular. My parents had to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dog to play with me. Talk about being an adorable baby. I was so adorable, but they fed me with a slingshot. Fucking crazy. Pups a lot 20 to Dego. Man, you people are going to bankrupt me. Nah. What else? Yeah, I mean, helping each other when we can is a good thing. And I think he does provide as best of community service as he can. I mean, he's also been the doorway for so many people's streams that it's fucking unimaginable. A lot of people come through Dago's stream and then make a stream of their own. And that's kind of an amazing, YouTube should pay him just for that, And yeah, so whoever drops more money, someone just dropped more money. It's a Pups a lot, I guess. Pups a lot, some $20. That's pretty awesome. So we have 110 and 20 is 130, 138, 148, 158. We're at a total of $168 so far. That's awesome. It's 10% of what we need. 10% closer is better than being 0% closer. Yeah, and if we can help each other as a group, I mean, there's only 100 of us in here. I don't suspect that my stream is big enough to generate the revenue he needs. But I don't know. I don't know that it's not, and I don't really care. I do what you can do and be grateful you could do that at all to begin with, right? 2 deer going to a bar. Blew $40 out and only had 2 drinks. Blew 40. That's a good one. 2 does going to a bar. Blew $40 but only had 2 drinks. You need to change the word deer to doe and you got yourself a winner there, Rod. No, we're not auctioning me. Although, yeah, it depends. If we're going to auction me off, though, I get to pick the winner. Even if the winner didn't donate, okay? So let's just make that fucking clear right now. Even if the winner did not donate, I get to pick the winner. So if we're going to auction me off, just be aware, ladies, you may become a target. Oh, right, Grant? I mean, I got to have some say in it. Oh, man. All right, so we're at 160. I think it says 168 plus mine. So we got 168 from the audience and 168. What is that? $336? 20% of our way to target. Awesome, man. Look at that. That shit is awesome. Back to talking about Lana. So Lana has a stream. And here's the thing with Lana. This is why I like listening to Lana. We don't see things the same way, but we do somewhat, I think to a large extent, come to conclusions and review the information in an extremely similar way. I think what we both do that's pretty consistent is we try to get the data to talk to us. And then we try to intermix our understanding of what we think that data is telling us. And that's why I like concentrating on just the facts available. True or false is not relevant until they become relevant. So you accept everything at face value and you try to let what you're being shown tell a story. Nah, don't worry, Jesse. I'm not going to live forever. And be honest, if I drop right now on the stream, I'd have no regrets, bro. I mean, I kind of enjoy smoking. I just who I am. You enjoy working out. I enjoy smoking. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Hang on. Jesse, I eat more steak than anybody I personally know, probably including you. T-bones, ribeyes, constantly. Yeah. King Christopher is a donator, and we're trying to raise a few dollars for Dego. Well, that's a good thing. My kid's 25 years old, and she's a lawyer. So yeah, that part of my life I think was accomplished as well as could be expected. I like Lana. Yeah, well, Lana's like me too. Lana and I have a lot in common when it comes to our processing of information. So I just want to say, and Jesse, you better donate some money to Dego. Where the hell are you? Don't make me come down there, boy. There's lots of fishes in Thailand you could be swimming with. Don't you forget it. I mean, Smith and Wesson is the great equalizer to fucking gym worked out people. I'm just telling you, just don't forget. That's why I don't go to the gym. I got the equalizer. All right, puts everybody on an equal footing. You might be stronger, bigger, faster, and more powerful, but bam, and the fishes will have some food. Just a poor boy in a third world country. Your ass hurts. Won't we get, man? Oh my! Why don't you come up here on the panel? Hang on, didn't I post my invite? Hang on, copy. Why don't you come up here on the fucking panel? Paste. I'm locked out of my Venmo. Damn new phone. I'm trying to get in. Let me see that. That's sick. What's going on? Sarge is liable to find a wife in Thailand. There you go. She might show me the best kind of fish to have Jimmy or there he is, Jesse swim with.
There's my light. I guess I have another light. I don't think anybody really needs to see me that clearly. I've still got better lighting than Sarge.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of lights on in this room, but it is what it is.
I don't have my microphone plugged in though. Let me plug in my mic.
Like I said, I could look way better than you if I just turn off all my lights.
Do I sound any better now?
Sure you do. Sure.
Yeah, well, so I don't feel that much better.
There's a lot of forest and a lot of shit down there forest-wise, isn't there?
I live in Chiang Mai. It's like a valley in the mountains, so there's a lot of mountain and jungle and mountain. Good motocross country, mountain biking, hiking, that kind of stuff.
Huh.
Waterfalls, a lot of waterfalls, lots of temples if you like going to temples.
Do you?
You've seen one, you've seen them all, in my opinion. There's a few that are unique that I don't mind having a look at, but I've lived in Thailand for 26 years, so I've seen a lot of temples.
Cambodia has the world's largest temple.
Yeah, there's a story about that. I went there when I was 23 or something like that with my buddy. We went to see it's one of the 7 wonders of the world too, apparently.
Yeah.
And we arrived at night, like dinner time. We went out. There was no nightlife. There was no women. We said, the fuck with this. And we went to Phnom Penh. The next morning, we got on a boat to Phnom Penh. Fucked the temple right off. Never saw it. So, and it was hell to get there too. We had to go on a landmine-filled road with potholes in a minibus. Just a hell trip for like 14 hours to get to this city where the temple is. And then they didn't have any nightlife or women, so we left before we even saw the temple. Back when I was 23.
You didn't do anything I would do at that temple, did you?
Well, I think what they say is what happens in Cambodia stays in Cambodia, especially when it was 26 years ago.
Hell yeah. I'd be raising a flagpole to the gods.
I could tell you that I can't remember. Can't remember what happened, Sarge.
How could you not remember? I remember when I was in a high chair.
Yeah, well, wait, when you're 23 and you're in these circumstances, some of it can be quite memorable. I remember.
Well,
I do remember a buddy of mine. I don't know. We can talk dirty on your stream, can't we, Sarge?
You say whatever you want.
I would never talk like this on Dego's stream, but even though it's the same people listening.
Yeah, my stream is. I fucking don't give a fuck what you're saying. Any word
I must be really ill if I'm telling stories like this, but I'll always remember a buddy of mine got kicked out of an establishment for being a little bit too well built.
Oh shit.
He's quite proud of it. He still tells that story today.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been with a few Asian women. They tell me, you're strong there. You're strong. Yeah. I'm Italian, and the Italians from Sicily were conquered by the Africans. So that should tell you something.
spent my entire adult life in Asia, so it would be a little weird if I hadn't been with a few Asian women.
Yeah, no, I've been with two of them. Actually, yeah, just two or three. Two. Seems like three because they all had multiple personalities, in my opinion. So maybe I was with 4 or 5 of them. They only had 2 bodies though. They were, they were tough to date, man. They were very good women, but very possessive. And if you couldn't account for your time or they couldn't have you in their sight, they were automatically thinking you were out wandering around the house.
Well, there's a good
Right.
reason for that because they are well aware of the competition that they face. It's very, very different. Well, I guess that's in Asia. Probably different in the.
No, they were
I'm sure you mean you met him in America.
No, this one girl came from Cambodia and the other girl came from South Korea.
But when you're actually in Asia, they're well aware that as soon as you leave your house, you're getting offers. There's you're a sought after commodity, right? You're almost treated especially when I was in my 20s, you're treated kind of like a rock star, a professional athlete. I mean, you make that kind of comparable money when you compare it to what the locals make. You stand out like a sore thumb. You're definitely sought after. So any women that you're with are going to be very protective and jealous and that kind of thing.
The Asians I dated had 2 arms, 2 legs. It was a white girl that I dated that had the 1 arm, and I didn't really date her. It was a fling. I've had a lot of flings. I find myself more compatible to flinging than I do a full-time personal relationship. I don't know why. I'm just, there's a lot of reasons why. Psychologically, if you analyze me, you'd probably be able to figure it out, but I'm not going to psychoanalyze myself any more than I already have. And I'm done with any therapy that could be offered to anybody. I think once you get the gist of the point of what therapy is trying to do, you don't need therapists to get you to do it. You just do it yourself.
And I will tell you that Thailand is the capital of the world when it comes to severed penises. Wives removing their husband's appendage over an argument. That's a very common thing over here.
Oh, I ain't going down there. Oh, but hell no. Oh, man.
I have yet to experience that myself, although I've been threatened a few times.
Man. No, I wouldn't be having any of that. No, you just mentioned that you got to get out of my house. Just that you would think that you could do that to me. You got to go. All right, so SRB sent 20. So we're up to 188 that I think I'm going to have to match. I have to find out from Dego what the total is, but thanks, SRB. She's got a nice smile, right? She's got a nice, pleasant, inviting smile. I'm sure her husband knows that. Maybe he doesn't care to hear me say that, but I don't know him. He don't know me, and there's her face. Kind of nice. Plus, we're on the internet. What threat do I pose from God only knows how many miles away? Let's see. Anyway, I was talking about Lana had a streamer earlier. And Lana, I don't know why this isn't clicking in Lana's head or why anybody hasn't brought this to her attention. But Lana is hyper-focused on the exact same time frames that I'm hyper-focused on. But the point of view that each of us bring to this time frame is opposite in some way. Her point of view is that she's trying to show that Dylan and Bethany were always in in the downstairs bedroom. In other words, she's interpreting the text messages and the events that are portrayed in what we've been shown as evidence that these 2 girls were in the same room. And I don't know if that's not true. In other words, her argument can be made, but I'm not even sure that if it was true, that's the significant thing to take from the timeline. And I think part of the reason why she's looking at it that way is because we know we've been misled on so much of this data.
Well, right? What does it achieve if we can prove that they were in a different room? It doesn't really achieve much, does it?
It proves more dishonesty, which is, you're right, it doesn't really achieve much.
Well, I mean, but we're already up to, for me, I'm up to my eyeballs in dishonesty with what they're saying, what they claim to know. So what room they're in, I'm more concerned about, did they leave the house? I'd be interested if somebody could prove they left the house.
Even that doesn't seem like it's that important to me. because the case is against Brian Koberger, and whether they were in the same room or left the home doesn't change the story that they're pushing to us. It just changes the circumstances of the story, but it still doesn't alter the accusation against Brian. Whether they were in the house or not doesn't change the accusation. So even if we were to find out they were both in the same room, the only thing that affects, in the data they've given us, the only thing that has a direct effect on Brian's accusations is the 417 video camera. The noises, the crying, the dog barking, and that activity that begins the communication between these two girls. That is really, really powerful information that's exculpatory to the defendant. The fact that they left the room, or they were in the same room, or they left the house, what exculpatory value does that have for him? Do you see my approach? And what I'm trying to show is that even if the facts are slightly off, or even blatantly lying as to the location in the house or outside of the house, how does that affect the accusation against Brian? And it really doesn't, because it doesn't really blow up the main accusation, which is the fucking timeline. What does affect the timeline is the only verifiable data that shows a crime in progress, the video and Bethany's behavior towards the noises she was hearing. That's important to Brian's defense. That can actually change the outcome of this case, like the taillight changed the case in the Karen Reed trial.
I did find it interesting that she showed the high-speed chase with the truck. You saw that one?
Yeah, but what is it? I don't think any of that has anything to do with the case against Brian, in as much as it doesn't change the facts that they're going to lay it at the jury's feet. Now, Ann can bring up the inconsistencies and tear that woman apart, but I don't even think
I wasn't kidding. If somebody thought I was kidding when I said, if that woman was anywhere near the house at the time of the crime, she's a suspect. I mean, that I was not kidding. I mean, you've got somebody who's involved in drugs, clearly high on drugs, got a rap sheet. The whole DoorDash thing, it would appear that the DoorDash thing seems to be sort of a cover for delivering drugs. It seems like DoorDash really means when you call and order a DoorDash, you're calling and getting some drugs delivered.
But how? See, here's the importance of the DoorDash. The DoorDash is important to the charges against Brian is in the establishment of their timeline, which they're trying to argue the about 4 a.m. But that timeline gets destroyed when they put the 417 and 419 part into the story where it belongs. Remember, they didn't give that to the grand jury. Remember, they're not laying their timeline out that has anything to do with 47 or 19. They're starting at 421 and going forward. They're ignoring everything from 417 forward. That's the exculpatory data that's a bombshell, like the taillight and the Karen Reed court case. And so here's what I'm trying to show you, and maybe you'll catch this. Where these girls were aren't relevant, because the case isn't about all of that. It's about, did Brian do this? In fact, did the state provide, or are they going to provide evidence beyond a reasonable doubt?
Because the time of the car fleeing the scene doesn't jive with the time of the crime starting. Is that
100% can't be the same? It can't be connected to the case. Therefore, the 4 a.m. timeline can't be real. And the about
I agree with that, but I also agree, though. I guess I'm more focused though on the fact that I don't think that that's Brian's car, and I think you can build a very strong case that's just never was Brian's car. That's not Brian's car. And then that matters a lot less. If you can prove that that's not Brian's car, doesn't that matter a lot less?
That does. Well, if you could prove that's not Brian's car, what I'm trying to say to you, though, is that it proves itself in the data. There's no need to prove that all those videos aren't showing his car. The 4:17 a.m. action and the 4:19 reaction by Bethany shows the car's irrelevant. Whatever took off at 4:20 can't be connected to the crime, because it did not start until 4:17. So all these other stories about what room they were in, where they were they off the property, on the property, none of that is relevant to be exculpatory to Brian other than to say these witnesses lied. But that lie in and of itself may not be exculpatory to acquit the guy. Do you understand? Juries want to see something they can hug, touch, feel, taste, smell. And the
I
fact
think
that
there's
Dylan
more
lying is
than
obvious.
more lying. I think you got to build up all these lies, though. That's the thing. That it's because it's not just what room are they in, what time did the amount of lies that are being told seems to be stacking up, and this introduction of the DoorDash driver seems to just be piling on to this narrative house of cards based on lies.
Let me hold you something. Let me hold you tight for a minute. Remember, I've said over and over again that every lie there can be no lie without truth. You must be covering a truth in order for the lie to exist. There's
Did
no
you
other
spell
way
your
to lie.
email address right? It looks like you missed a letter.
All right.
Unless your name is got a missing letter.
No. It's spelled wrong intentionally because that's in honor of a friend that passed away. And so that's my one way of always remembering who he is. I started an email account with his name. And I didn't want to get the name exactly right. And so that's why you see Kevy.
Gotcha.
Right. So I understand. But listen, this is the thought process that I'm using. I'm trying to share with people to understand all those arguments that you guys are pointing to would be relevant on an individual basis. But the only reason those arguments exist is to keep your eye off of the truth that they're hiding. And the truth that they're hiding is the crime started at 417. So you don't need to disqualify each individual sighting of the vehicle because now we know that a vehicle that sped off at 420 couldn't be connected to the crime because not only did it start at 417, these women are admittedly texting during the crime's commission, and their communication and the dog barking doesn't stop until 4:37 a.m. Therefore, you have a full 20-minute battle going on in that house. A car that left at 420 can only be connected to that if it was someone that was scared and ran off. In other words, you cannot put that at Brian Koberger's feet. You can't say about 4 a.m. when in fact 417 is the truth. And when your argument states that a car, suspect vehicle 1 sped away at 420, well, even if that was Brian Koberger, he can't be the murderer because the murder was still in progress at 4:20 a.m. You understand? All those other arguments of where the kids were and whose car that is become meaningless because the truth they're hiding is the time the crime actually recordably began. And that's why I'm trying to show people there's a story being told to us, even if it's incomplete. And the idea, and I respect Lana, I respect you. These other observations, they're valid, but unless you attack the true truth that's being hidden, once you understand the true truth, those other arguments are flattened immediately. They're completely erased.
Well, and the way Anne's spoken in the hearings, she's mentioned this, right? That she believes the timeline is off. So it sounds like she plans on attacking that.
She already brought up the 417. The timeline is inaccurate, and she brought up the dog that started barking at 417. And all these things, this is how my head works. I connect dots. I used to have that name on Twitter, connect the dots. And sometimes the dots won't connect because you're missing a couple of pieces of data. But the minute those text messages were released, they didn't release them with the story about 417. They simply released text messages that showed Bethany text Dylan at 419, and that disturbed the fuck out of me. Why did they start at 419 and that release from Hitler? Because that release is different than anything else we were told or made to believe. So now we know at 351, Dylan added a contact, and there's no other information about anything until 417. And Lana acknowledges this. And what is happening at 417 is what they're trying to keep buried. That is the about 4 a.m. That is not 4 a.m. It's 417, which can be considered about 4 a.m. And that's why they keep using the word about and why they've kept all those messages from those two girls from the public. This would have been put together in the very beginning when this should have been released. Okay? And so you're right. Were they in the room or not in the room? Well, you can make a case, even if you could show they weren't. You still don't destroy the narrative. You have to destroy the accusation. And the only people that can do that literally are the police themselves. And I'm showing you exactly how they destroy their own narrative. And that's where Lana is doing what, you know, and there is some value to know the girls lied. There's value in knowing that they weren't there. But actually what you're doing is you're hitting the nail more than you need to hit it. The nail is driven home. Once you realize the time, the epicenter of the conflict and its moment of inception, when you can establish that and nobody can discount it, your case is won. Do you see that?
I do see what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think you're obviously quite a sharp guy, but I want to point something out. The people on the jury are probably more likely to be thinking along the same lines as the people in chat. You know what I'm saying? The intelligence level of the jurors, you don't want to overestimate that. And I think what we saw in the interviews with the Karen Reed jurors and the things that they latched onto and the things that they completely ignored says a lot to me. And it says to me that I think you have to hammer on a lot of these issues because you never know what they're going to latch onto and what they're not, and what's going to go completely over their head.
Let me ask the chat room with a polls, 1 for yes or 2 for no. We can argue about every instance and every video and every clipping of a car. And then we can argue and debate to the location or lack of location of the victims, of the survivors in the home. We can argue about whether the survivors were involved or not involved. And we can present all of this information to the jury. Okay? And I tell you, if you listen to the jurors, you'll see what you get from the Karen Reed cases. They want something that they can actually wrap their head around that makes sense. And when you present to the jury all of those arguments versus the point that I keep trying to drive home, the crime started at 417. None of the videos and nothing about any automobile at all is relevant to the accusations against my client. Not only could he not have been there, but even had he been there, the state themselves claim he left at 4:20 a.m., to which could not be possible as him wielding a knife to kill the victims. If you claim he showed up at 4:07 and left at 4:20, and you can't show that the crime didn't start prior to 4:17, and I can show you here that it absolutely did start, that Bethany absolutely responded to that, then my client cannot be involved in this case. I don't care how many videos you got or how many stories you got about these girls or anything else, the band field, the grub truck, none of that affects Brian Kohlberger. The time of the crime, the sequence of events is what is going to exonerate this kid. Not arguing over the photos or the locations of the girls. They eliminated that. I said that in the beginning, Jesse. I had the precognition to stay in February 2023 that everything the cops are presenting is the exculpatory data, that they're hiding something. And to me, I think I hit the jackpot when I say the crime starts at 4:17, and not only does the dog confirm that, the video camera confirm that, but Bethany confirms that, and so does Dylan. The minute she responds to Bethany, their response is consistent with the current crime happening in their home. Fair enough?
Fair enough. I don't disagree. I just, like I said, I think I think even if you have the best point, you got to hammer away at a lot of different points to catch the jury's attention. I'm looking now at the chat. Kim Young says, Lana's live tonight, gross and embarrassing. I'm looking forward to finding out what she has to say about that as well. I've always wanted to know what was gross, right?
Gross and embarrassing may be what these young women were doing for money.
Yeah. Well, and you know what I'm always focused on, what I always go back to and what I always want to talk about is the 911 call. And the reason for that is, to me, that's covering up what happened. It's a cover up, right? We don't know what happened when it's fucking pretty clear that they do. Of course they know what happened. And that to me is instant reasonable doubt. If you can convince a jury that those girls knew what happened and lied about it, that has to be reasonable doubt. Because why would they do that for Brian Kohlberger? They certainly would not.
Well, I think that look at,
check this out.
Can I just say that? What is it? Eggs, steak and eggs.
It's eggs, rice, and pork belly. What is it? Dried pork belly or fried pork belly?
I don't know.
Chili sauce.
Who made it?
I ordered it from a local place.
I see. Well, you should bring in a.
So,
Here's what you should do. You should have like a parade of what do they call them? The Thailandian women. And I could pick one as we send them back up here. I can come get them. We need to go out in public with your can. And old Sarge could say that one right there.
I wouldn't do any window shopping like that, Sarge. I think you got to come and check out the goods yourself.
I'm just being stupid. Yeah, the state locked themselves into this narrative. They locked themselves into the narrative based on the timelines where they're arguing location of a vehicle, but none of that is an argument to be made. When you understand that even if you're right that 911 call, I can't dispute that it was fabricated or not. But what I can tell you is it's even more likely to have been fabricated based on even Lana's pointing out. Nothing happens from 351 until 47. There's nothing going on. So that means the crime started at 417. She's not saying that, but it kind of shocks me that she's not making that conclusion. Because she is making that conclusion.
You're going to have to boot me because I'm going to tuck right into this lunch that just arrived.
Well, you can eat on screen. We don't give a fuck. Or I could boot you. It's up to you. I just booted his ass. Don't ask me twice. Can you still hear us, Jesse? Shake your head up and down. We can still see you. You don't got to ask me twice. And anyone else, look, I'll put the link in here. Can anybody give me an idea? Maybe I have to contact Dego and see. Let's see if he answers his phone. He said his battery was getting low. Let's see if Dago's phone is working. Yeah. I think Dago's battery's dead because it goes right to voicemail. Diane Draper. What's up there, Diane Draper?
Not much. Oh, it's my camera. Oh, there we go. You are correct. See, Ann Taylor has wiggle room because the state has locked themselves in to 420.
And they tried to sneakily expand it to 425 and 430, which makes no sense if the car sped off at 4:20 a.m.
True.
Unless they're saying there are other people involved without saying it.
I found something you might find interesting. There was a gentleman named, oh my God, I can't even read my own writing. Charles Irving, Fain. He served 18 years on death row in Idaho in Cannon County, and he was innocent. So now they have to compensate him for 18 years of his life that they took.
Right. They got a limit to what they'll pay you for a year in jail, though.
Oh, I would own Cannon County.
No, there's a limit that there's some kind at 70-something thousand a year. They got some kind of nonsense that limits the liability. But I think what should happen is not just be released and not just be compensated, but those that put you in jail should be punished.
Yes.
And that doesn't happen.
Did you know? Guess how many death penalty cases Latah County has?
Was Bill Thompson the prosecutor in the case you just brought up?
No, I was, because if he was, it'd be all over there.
Who prosecuted the chiropractor? Who attempted to prosecute that murder case?
Oh shit!
Wait. Let me just look at what William. They're trying to fucking ruin me. He needed $1,600, right? There's no way I expected that thing to go up as high as it did. So if we cover his utility bill, I will send Dego money, but I don't know that we're going to make Dego rich out of this. I mean, what the fuck, William? There's no way I expected the capacity for this little channel to raise that significant amount. But let me just say something. I'm very, very fucking humbled that people were able to put up money to help this guy. I mean, that just says a lot about the people that come in here. And for those people that come in here that have an issue with me, clearly your issue is not founded because some very, very good fucking people come in here to hear what I have to say. So for you naysayers, you can go fucking go pull your head out of your ass so you got room for something else to go up there.
Okay.
That's why I don't tell people to go F themselves, because usually their head's so far up their ass, there's no room for a dick.
Jesus. Okay. Guess how many death penalty cases Latah County has?
How many?
1. Brian Koberger.
I'd like to know who was the prosecutors
I tried to find out who the
in the case of
prosecutor
the
was.
chiropractor. You know who would know would be that Heather.
Wait a
Biff.
minute, wasn't it the same cops that were on
The state troopers. There was a state trooper maybe involved. I don't think it was Moscow cops.
I thought it was.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I also want to say this, just on the Dego thing, is people know him well enough to help him that way, which is really speaks more to Dego than it does me at all. Just so you folks know, I honestly thought we were going to raise. I was hoping on the outside we'd raise 300 or 400 in the chat room, and then I could match it, or even 800 in the chat room. I could match it. So yeah, it's a different city and county. Thanks, Tom Boy.
Well, it says something about you too, because I mean, you didn't have to say anything.
No, but how could you not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a practical man, and you know, like I said, I think about more positive attributes about myself than negative, but you know, the negative does come across much stronger.
I've been down and out, and if it was, you know, I had people help me, and I can't help somebody when I have help. So,
Has anybody got the capacity to post a link so that we can see? Ahmad would have to do it. The total that's been donated to Dego.
Now, my
man, if we're above his electric bill, my foot hurts.
My daughter is on her way home. So, because I don't have Cash App or any of that. My daughter does.
I don't either. I would have sent him a company check. I don't have that stuff either because I just don't. And I don't really join memberships. It's not because I don't want to pay the couple dollars a month, but it would be I wouldn't be able to do one without doing everybody. And then I got a bill every month, and it's like I'll just stream. That's my compromise. I'll just make my own stream and not take any money from anybody because I just don't need it. Yeah. Okay.
So
somebody came in here and said they raised $2,000 already, and like I got to double it. I mean, he ain't trying to make the guy. Ain't trying to give him a fucking retirement fund. Just fix his electric bill.
If you raise $4,000, you said you would, and don't kick me, please. I see that hand moving.
I said I would match dollar for dollar what people donated from a penny to $1. You're right. I did say that, and his bill was $1,600. I did say that as well too. So, if someone wants to donate above and beyond that, then that takes care of the problem. So,
that's true,
right? I mean, what are we trying to do? We're not trying to support him for life. We're trying to fix his electric bill.
Well,
but if it's anything short of what he needs, I'll fill it in. I have no objection to that at all, and I'll pay dollar for dollar the donations. I was up to $188. And with mine, a total of $336 donated. But now people are saying more has been donated than that, which is fan-fucking-tastic. And we'll have to wait to see what it comes out to be. So I'm not out of the woods by any means. I think they were just screwing around when they said they donated $2,000. I got to double it. I think they were just playing.
Mine will be in my daughter's name because, like I said, I don't have Cash App or any of that. My daughter does, and she'll be, she'll take it off of my card, but it'll be her Cash App card. Right, and it is very sweet of you. And anybody who says you're a dick, they're a liar. Well,
no, they're not. That's why I don't get mad when people. They're not lying. They're not lying. Many different sides, and it includes good and bad. So that's why I don't really get mad if people call me names, because generally there's truth to what they say. And so how do you get mad at the truth? You know me.
I had a friend who told me, he goes, if they call me a dick, they should ask, people should ask, what did they do to me?
What? Huh?
So, you know,
What did you
I,
do to that for me?
well, he's, because he said, if, people are calling him names because he's a nice guy. And if they're going, well, no, he's a dick, he goes, people need to ask, what did that individual do to me? And I was like, because I don't know.
Good Jesse.
I've never thought you, except for, when it comes to other people, and again, I'm going to say people are entitled to their opinions, whether they're,
Right.
out in la la land or not. Um,
Well, you see, my difference, I think, between myself and these other streamers that are putting up all this entertaining bullshit that you see Neural Nugget Nikki, you see Birdie, you see Pav, you see a whole bunch of these people putting up all these possibilities, and they put up these curious things like, did they video the crime? Question mark. And then they get into what did Dylan delete? And then they go into these, they carry on these conspiracy theories that there's no evidence to support, but the question is good enough for a stream and for clicks. And I don't want to drag people in here on some hyped up title or some hyperactive potential. Could be this, could be that, because like I'm pointing out, and even Lana points out, I'll play a little bit of Lana shows, is that the story to be discussed and the story to be focused on is the case against Kohlberger. Everything else is just noise.
we're never going to know who did it.
No, and if people want to come on here and be entertained, then you're Wyatt Harris. You're not blocked. I see you up here. I don't know. I see if you posted. You posted. I read it. You're not blocked. But and I'm just trying to get others. And many of the people that come in my stream, I think they understand the perspective I'm applying to the case is the case itself. And I'm trying to avoid any extracurricular activity or involvement of others that are in videos or pictures or potential sound bites, because it's not in the charging documents. And unless it's brought into the court, I don't give a fuck what happened at the ground truck, Linda Lane, the band field, someone's fucking phone, an airplane flying overhead, parachutists. I don't give a fuck about any of that. It's not in the case.
No.
And you can't just inject shit that like we all know, Ann can't just throw any of this nonsense out there. She has to have a solid basis for an alternative suspect. So all of these people's talking about this guy could have done it, this guy could have done it, this girl, this group, it's just bullshit. It's a waste. To me, it's just a waste of valuable brain power. Millions and millions of hours of valuable brain power. That the point Lana makes, the point that I make, are points that any of the people that are doing these things could make themselves. I'm not saying that I'm smarter or Lana is smarter than others. It's
I
that
do
we're
have a question for
data.
you.
Pardon?
Couldn't Ann Taylor just go, we have unknown male DNA on a sheet, and it's not Brian's. Under her fingernails, it's not Brian's. On a handrail, it's not Brian's. In a glove, it's not Brian's. Wouldn't that kind of...
On the sheath, it's not Brian's.
Yeah, wouldn't that kind of be the...
That's exactly right. That's the tail light.
The alternate...
That's the Karen Reed tail light, right there.
I mean, would that be her way of an... Or does she actually have to name the individual? Or
well, when she's presenting the case, her alternative suspect doesn't even have to have a name. So she does. In other words, when somebody from the police are going to get up there and tell their story, her cross-examination will bring this out, because they were involved in creating this information, and so the information that another DNA exists that was done untested has already been brought up in other courtrooms.
So she doesn't have to mention any names and go, because this person was here. She actually could go the alternate suspects just off.
Well, the totality and the ineptitude of the police investigation is going to be part of the defense. And there's a swimming pool full of data that there's video images, and there's the lack of investigation that's they themselves have presented to her in discovery. And of course she can bring that forward, and the jury will be well aware of this. And anybody that has 4, 5, 6, 7 other pieces of DNA that go untested in crucial areas. I mean, if a glove isn't considered likely part of the crime scene, I don't know what the fuck would be. That's equivalent to the sheath all day long. And then there's blood in the sheath, and you never ran blood, actual blood. You couldn't identify that, so you covered it with fingerprint powder, making it untestable.
Oh shit! Okay.
I
So
mean,
she
either way.
can't test that. She can't test that
No,
DNA.
and so yeah, can she destroy the state's case? Absolutely.
Um, I might have missed it, but where is the
I
speaking of
remember that too.
all the blood?
The what?
All the blood, like
I,
because he didn't, he didn't get on a zip line and crawl to the kitchen and jump outside, or they didn't. Um,
he didn't transport in and out of that house either, right?
no,
This isn't Star Trek. This is real.
so I mean, there had to been blood going down the stairs to get to Xana's room, which meant there had to be blood somewhere, in that little uh, area in front of Dylan's
You know,
room and down that hall, and then there had to be more
well,
blood
no, you know what?
coming up.
Lana makes an argument that I don't really disagree with when she says Bethany's statement that she saw him coming down the hallway towards me. Lana's making the argument that that means Dylan was on that staircase leading to Bethany's room. And that's the hallway, because there is no hallway technically between Dylan's doorway and the living area. So we're all picturing him walking through the living area and stepping through, which is a fair assessment because there's also a footprint there. But that assessment may be inaccurate. And Lana makes up in this stream, and she makes the point that we now know she went down the stairs. We just don't know when she did it. And that's what I've been saying too. Some of the things that have been stated don't have times attached to them. It's okay. I'm here to help. When was that spoken? Before 419? When you were going down the stairs? Before as you left your room? After you left? I mean, when the fuck did you hear that in relation to the events that we're aware of?
Or did she, or was it even said at all? But Lana did point out, she said a voice she did not recognize. So somebody said something.
Did SRB, did you put a link in here for Lana's stream? I wish somebody would. That would be nice of you. And let me see if I can just pound some of her stuff here and see what she's.
Okay.
One more. Hang on.
Out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. No.
The next paragraph, where I think she makes the
This is
statement.
where it's going to get interesting.
I want to be clear. She makes
Again, think
statements.
about why the cops had to say, well, are you
Lana, if this is the right part of the stream, will make statements that are almost identical to mine, but they come from her own thoughts. She did not obtain the statement that nothing happened from 351 to 417. She made that conclusion, that observation, free of any communication with me, even my streams. And that's why I say Lana and I do approach this in a very similar way. There's major differences. I do mine all through mental recall. She does hers by rolling through documents and mental recall. But that's why I say her and I'm fairly convinced we try to read through the facts and let the story talk to us, or try to pull from the facts a story that's there in plain sight, but they're hiding it. And that's what I was trying to share with Jesse earlier. There's a truth being hidden by the timeline lies. What are they hiding? And the hiding has to be the actual time the crime starts. The about 4 a.m. is an attempt to mask the truth of when this crime began. And that's the story I'm getting from the data they've released. Let's see what Lana, if she gets into that a little bit here.
sure it wasn't Xana? The only reason that would be is because, holy shit, if you're saying that it was Kaylee, that means Kaylee came all the way down to the first level. And remember Dylan saying, running up and down, she says, Ann Taylor says, yeah, carrying the dog. Remember all that stuff? Wait till you guys see what's about to come. Because remember, this was just for the purposes of the whole not using the eyebrows. And it wasn't about the interviews and that you're just totally botching what the heck Dylan's telling you. Okay. So now, let me back to here. Oopsies. Just go like that. Okay.
Can someone
so,
post a link to Lana's stream? I'd appreciate it.
uh,
Maybe I can. Hang on. I'm right there.
DM stated that she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. DM said that she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., and this is just off of the camera, so it has nothing to do with Dylan or anybody saying anything. But here, a dog can also be heard barking numerous times starting at 4:17 a.m. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Xana's bedroom, but it is also 50 feet from the opposing bedroom from Bethany's room. That's
Okay. This is what I mean. She makes the observation, and in this stream or in another stream, maybe more than one stream, she brings up 3:51 a.m. and nothing until 3:17. And that's why I say her and I think alike, because that big hole in the timeline is crucial.
Did you
That
say
big hole is there's a story
3:17?
there. Yeah, there's nothing from 4:17 back to 3:51 a.m.
Okay, okay, so it is 4:17, not
It is
3:17.
4:17. Yeah,
Okay.
I made a mistake. Yep. So let's see how she sums this up. She's going to change the location of the players, which again I don't think is a necessary argument that need be made, but you know this is what she's trying to glean from this.
spare bedroom, where if Murphy was put in that bedroom.
The number one food for regular BMs, huh? Okay, let's see.
Fastest way to clear out stuck poop is by adding more fiber to your diet.
Not quite, unless you want to
That's
make things
gross.
worse.
We don't wanna hear
Of
about
course.
poop.
So
Talk about talking
this
shit.
whole thud and hearing the barking, and they want to focus on that it is 50 feet. It's also 50 feet, or actually probably less, from the spare bedroom that would be across from Bethany's bedroom. Okay, now
Is that correct? Because I mean, under Xana's room
Yeah, that's
is
accurate.
was
Her
the empty bedroom.
Her summation. Oh shit. Where was I on this? Oh, I fucked it up.
I'm sorry.
I know it's not you. She's right. The bottom bedroom, folks, where the golf clubs were, the storage room. To when you walk in the front door, on the right is a empty bedroom. The left leads to Bethany's bedroom. That empty bedroom is directly underneath Zana's room. Essentially, not directly underneath, is it?
Yeah,
No.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then that bedroom is also 50 feet from the camera or less, because less may, it's 50 feet. It's the same distance whether you're in Zana's room or the spare bedroom in the front of the house. The distance is the same. And I think what she's going to say here is that the dog was put in that room during the murders. And that's when it was barking incessantly. And that may, in fact, be there may be truth to that. Here's the other thing, too, and I don't think she said this, but this may explain, came down the stairs, went up the stairs, and came back down the stairs. If that is being something about the main staircase, we're expecting that Dylan's statement about the up and down is referencing the third floor, because she mentioned Kayla. She thought she heard Kaylee go down, up, and down. And Ann said that can't be true because we know where Kaylee was found. But if she is referring to the front staircase of somebody going down, up, and down again, that would make sense. Going down with the dog, upstairs to commit the crimes, and then down and out the front door. So she does make an observation that there's no evidence to say that this is how it happened, but it does fit the explanation of Dylan's statements of what she heard, what she saw, and her argument, Lana's argument, that she saw that from approximately the staircase leading to Bethany's room. And that when she said she saw him by the little wall, that staircase does have a little wall that separates it from the living area so you don't fall down the fucking stairs. So her observations are very, very astute as to their accuracy. It's an interpretation of the facts available. She's not bringing Banfield, and that's why I like Lana. She doesn't do that from the things I've seen. She's not bringing in parachutists and fucking wackadoodle stories from some camera, right? She's talking about the data given us. How can you interpret that in a way that even makes more sense? And I think her argument does have some water. It holds some water to it, as much as the water I think that's held in the point that I've made with the start time of the crime.
So Lana is saying that Bethany and Dylan put the dog down there, or
I don't know where she's going with that, but somebody may have put the dog down there, and then the crime then went back upstairs, committed the crime, and then it's a possibility because the information isn't clear. Dylan's statements are statements that we place actions to that aren't actually told to us are the actions that were taken. I looked out my door. That tells me that when she said she looked out her door, saw somebody walking towards her, that implies that they were walking towards her. But then she also says somewhere in here where she said she observed the person by the small wall. And the next, look at the image. See the small wall? You guys see this image? Did it come through yet? You see that living area?
yeah.
The staircase leading down and the small wall. Is that the small wall that she's referencing when she says she saw this guy? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Her door, and she's standing in her door,
That's what she says.
and walking towards her. I don't know.
All you folks, I'm gonna. Yeah, see, what I'm saying is Lana's explanation is an explanation that could fit, but in some ways also contradicts the statement that Bethany made. But if Bethany is being dishonest and lying, if these two girls aren't telling the factual truth of what happened or what they actually did that night, Lana's argument is very strong. But I don't know how you could break the chain of their argument and show that they're lying. But, like I said, once you show that crime started at 4:17, there's no way Koberger could be involved and flee that scene at 4:20. That's the truth that's being hidden. And all of these and she's doing a good job, though, because like I said, she's sticking to the facts that are given us. That's okay. If you can't help, you can't help, folks. Nobody has to help at all. And that's what I said in the beginning. From a penny to $1, we want to get him and pay his electric bill if we can to get him back up and running.
Oh, I'm sorry. She opens her door. Now they've already been upstairs, and Kaylee and Maddie, and they come down the stairs. There has to be a blood trail coming down the stairs. There has to be blood in front of her door, going around the corner, and going past the little wall, going in there, and unaliving.
I just say that
Tammy.
Lana's explanation explains the handrail blood. I don't even know if Lana made that observation in her stream. But the down, up, down, or the movement of the dog into that room, going down, putting the dog in that room, and then coming back up, and blood being on that handrail, and when they went down again. In other words, if the staircase Dylan is referring to is the staircase on the screen and not the staircase to the third floor, now it explains blood on that handrail. You see?
Yeah, they never did specify which one, did they?
Right. No. And that's why Lana is, she's making observations that can't be discounted any more than there's no clear-cut statement as to what staircase she's referring to. That's the problem.
Okay, but that don't make any sense that the dog was put in the room downstairs. Hold on.
The dog barking started at 4:17.
Yeah, but
right?
supposedly when the police got there, the dog was in Kaylee's room just laying on the bed with no no blood or anything.
That's where they say they found it, but that doesn't mean somebody didn't return it to that room prior to the police getting there.
Yeah, but wouldn't that dog still move around? And I mean, they
Yeah, but
smell things, and
Ann's made that point. There was no trace evidence associated with the dog at all, and the door to the room of his master was open. So yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole crime scene is a question, and I just want to credit Lana for adding some context to a possible alternative explanation of what this data is, because it's unclear. And we've accepted it through the view of Dylan looking out her door and Dylan's statements, but you have to realize that she don't even know what she was talking about.
to Jesse, DM, I think Ann Taylor would not just want any, I took a picture of myself in the mirror and look at me. Oh, but then I deleted it. That's not going. Ann Taylor is not. That means nothing to this case. And I could be wrong. My opinion. I think Dylan took pictures of the victims because there were individuals on their Snapchat talking about it. Kaylee, I don't know if it was her cousin or whatever, and I don't know, called Christy Gonzalez to tell her Kaylee was dead. People knew what had happened before law enforcement ever did. There were individuals out there who were explaining and telling people the injuries that were done to all four of them. You're not going to know that unless you've seen it.
Well, they're going to have all the pictures and all that at the trial. And
Yeah.
I got to say, I agree with Kara, but I don't know any dog that would avoid a dead body. I don't know any dog that would avoid a dead body. As a matter of fact, you'll see a dog run out to where a bird died and roll around in it. And so nobody's arguing that the dog tried to protect Kaylee. But the fact that the door to Kaylee's room was open and the door to Maddie Mogeson's room was open, that means the dog had access to the victims. The door to Xana and Ethan was open. And because the dog's door was open, it had free access to the house. Yet there was nothing related to the crime scene connected to the dog. That's just fucking weird, man. To me, that says the dog was washed and dried. And it 8 hours between the crime and the call of the police. God only knows what took place in that house.
I mean, Kaylee, that was his owner. His, played around with her, slept in the bed with her, traveled in the car with her. You see people whose dog, somebody dies and they, the whoever comes in and the dog is right there by their owner.
But there's no statements that this happened there, Carol. Sorry about that. The whole crime scene is just given enough explanation for it to make enough sense to have 6 billion fucking holes in it to look through.
And you got a latent footprint of a Vans tennis shoe, but outside you got a boot.
Right, and you got a glove.
Yeah. So did they have a Vans tennis shoe on one foot and a boot on the other?
Certainly they did. Is that Vans not a footprint from Dylan, for all we know?
See, there's where I figured that in the PCA or somewhere it would be the police said there was blood. I come up the staircase, there was blood everywhere going down the hallway leading to Xana's room.
Did they say that?
No, and that tells me that maybe nobody on that junk gas 911 call mentioned anything about blood being everywhere. But then the coroner
the coroner says the bloodiest scene she'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I do have a question for Gray Pearl. BJ lost the RICO, and people aren't understanding who's BJ And what RICO case are you talking about? If you're still on here, Gray Pearl. I mean, can you clarify that statement, please? Gray Pearl necklace.
BJ plus the Rico. I don't. I didn't
Diddy is
realize
free.
there was a Rico case involved.
Freedom for freak offs. Hey, I don't care if these people are banging the living shit out of each other and who's banging who, as long as it's legal and it's not children. Brittany J and the RICO charges from Queen B and others. So Brittany J, isn't that the person that was at war with Illuminati?
Yes, and she kicked a cat.
Yeah, it is. It is that is complete drama. The Illuminati ordeals with some of these other streamers. I still talk to them. I still, they're great people. I just kind of wander away from that. It's strange that the dog wasn't full of blood. Diddy charges were dropped. No shit.
Dog was full of blood to
It's
me.
because Diddy is an informant, just like Epstein.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's what they're saying. That's what's being reported in the chat room. Jules is getting in some drama. What? I don't know what he's talking about, Jesse. Sometimes you gotta pre-read what is getting in some drama now.
With that, not Willie, that goes on Dago's, a William, that said he knew Brian Koberger, and he was on Birdie's channel. Well, he did call her fat and tell her she needed, Jenny Craig. So if I was her, I'd put my foot right between his legs.
Jules of all trades is feuding with Birdie.
All right. I'll be right back.
Jesse, just get your ass up here and tell us the story. And not a story about a man named Jed, which is the story I used to tell my daughter all the time. Wait, that ain't the right link. Invite. You said you were going to bed. You're not going to bed, obviously. Yeah, I bumped heads with Jules, and that was the end of that. I don't like to be disrespected and kicked in the balls, and then when I respond to it, I'm the bad guy. And women like that, I could do. The world would be a better place without people with that kind of a fucking. You're going to attack somebody unjustly. Admit you're wrong and apologize, especially when you had somewhat of a relationship online with the person, as her and I did, as far as being streamers. And so I don't listen to Jules anymore. I don't suggest that she doesn't have any smarts about her. She's a smart woman, but it's not even stubborn. Her behavior was an act of ignorance. Add to stage. All right, let's hear the story, Jed.
Well, I guess Birdie had a live with that friend of Koberger's that nobody knows if he's real or not, if he actually even knows Koberger. The guy with all the trophies, the guy that's, a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And I guess Jewel called him out and said he's full of shit. A little bit preemptively, she latched on to some. I guess that guy. Do you know the guy I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's the same thing she did to me. She called me Doc. But I'm not going to get into that. But she attacked me the same way she's attacking Birdie, probably.
Along those lines. She might even be. I don't even know that she's not right, but. The point is, she didn't wait till she knew she was right before she started calling this guy out.
Right.
And I guess that guy has all these trophies on his wall. And when he was on the stream with Birdie, see, that's the thing. This guy never talked about his trophies. He never said, oh, look at all my trophies. He was asked what they were about, and he said what they were about. And then Jules said, I call bullshit. And I'm not sure she did enough to make sure she was right about that. And now Birdie's feuding with her. And of course, William's just a typical,
he was a guard at the jail in the Monroe County Pen, is what Clifton Mayo was saying. But here, see, she did that with me. What happened with me was documents were released that stated that they swabbed the button snap, the sheath, and inside the sheath. And I said, there's more samples of DNA. They claimed that there were 2 unknown male samples, and it's possible they collected them from the sheath. And I was accurate. But she went off and said he's telling conspiracy theories like that crazy woman Dot. He don't know what the fuck he's talking about, blah, 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 blah. And in the end, the truth of the matter is they swabbed inside the loop. They never used the word loop. They said inside the sheath. So they didn't define their inside until now. And they did find DNA in the form of blood on the sheath and Kohlberger's. So my definition of the information released was as accurate as could be for what was given to the public. But before would they even finally come out with the definition of what that meant, she went off and just, I'm a liar, I'm a conspiracy theorist, I'm this, I'm like that. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I think you got to be pretty careful about calling people out because, you know, if in the event that you're wrong, you're going to get egg in your face. But
yeah, to do her again because she, yeah.
And I guess this guy hit her back right away and called her fat, so that's not very nice. And I think this guy is, at the best, he's you know, straight out of a trailer park. Let's say he's not the most sophisticated dude. Let's just.
No. And guys like Birdie, I don't listen to their streams, and guys like the Pavarotti, I don't listen to them. I don't want to have anything to do with people like that. That's why I don't mind quoting stuff and going over stuff Lana does, because she is dealing with the only data that we can verify whether it's true or false. There's
well, I watched Jules, and she seems to be really strict about her information as well.
No, I'm not going to deny that. I said I do respect her intelligence, but she oftentimes will go off for no good reason.
You can't tell her a damn thing, though. She just recently latched onto the green car theory, which I thought was odd because we've been on the green car theory for like 6 weeks now. And Mark B was on it over a year ago.
Right.
And there's, I guess, some new guy contacted her and said, and I guess this new guy did a comprehensive report, very professionally done. But I don't care how professionally it was done. It's just rehashing what other people have done.
Right.
Including Lana. So Lana and Mark B. So to give this guy credit, which she did, she shared his link and basically said this guy's a genius. I thought was incorrect because Mark B is the genius. He's the one that put it together. I don't care how much you spice it up and fluff it up and make it more professional. Right. It's still his work product, in my opinion. And I got into it with her about that, and she didn't like it. And she didn't seem to get what I was saying. I wasn't accusing her of anything. I was saying that this guy who's doing this, you know, rehashing other people's stuff should at least be honest that it's Mark B's work, not his.
Well, I got attacked for putting forward DNA cannot survive on brass. I brought that into this conversation around here. And the reason I brought that in was because, and I gave credit to the person that did it. There's a girl that was coming out here in the stream where she was trying to look like that guy Drip Drop. Okay, she had on a mask or something like he does. And she said that it was known to her through military. She was like part of the military police.
Talking about.
Through the military police, that they never even would swab gun bullet casings because bullet cases are made of brass, and they wouldn't swab it because it's known that brass kills DNA. Well, she never made the leap from the brass bullet that she was aware that brass killed the DNA. Fair enough. I give her all the credit in the world for that. But she didn't leap to the knife sheath's location of where they claim they found the fucking DNA, which is the button.
Well, I've heard that they put some kind of finish on the brass. So there's some sort of like silicone spray
from
thing
inside. No. Listen, Jesse, it's from inside the button snap. The surface, the enamel coating on the outer snap was tested for fingerprints.
Okay.
When you unsnap, the inside of the button is where they claim to find the transfer DNA.
That's not brass. That's like die-cast metal or something.
No, it's either brass or stainless. Okay. All button snaps are brass or stainless. You're not going to find any other
about the
and that girl was absolutely correct. So here's what I did. When she made the statement about brass, I started looking and I find scientific research that shows that she's not right. She's fucking right. Totally right. And I presented the research and the statement about this case to where if that button snap is made of brass, there's no viable DNA could have been recovered from it because the knife sheath itself wasn't recovered for more than 8 hours, for more than 14 hours, 5, 8. What is 8 and 5? Right? 8, 10, 13 hours. No DNA can survive on brass in any usable form beyond a few hours. And when I mean a few, under 4. Therefore, if the button snap in Brian's trial is brass, you can't even suggest that you took a DNA sample from there because the brass destroys it. It literally eats it, essentially. But I gave credit. In other words, I gave credit to the girl that made that statement, but her statement meant more to me in this case than just the simple knowledge that brass kills DNA. And I made the final connections, but I still gave her credit. And I still do to this moment. I don't remember her name, but she's the one that brought up the idea of brass and DNA being incompatible. And that's, I see what you're saying. And then here's the other thing. People started using it and they were acting like they were taking credit from it. I just shake my head. You're right. It's only fair to say whoever discovered this information, you should point out that they discovered it, even if it wasn't a full discovery. You know, that girl led me down a path of research I wouldn't have taken had she not mentioned the military won't even swab a brass shell for DNA.
The military also will not even acknowledge, trace, or transfer DNA. They just won't. My son's in the military.
And again,
It's funny when you get in these streams, you see the chat, and it's all the same people in every stream. It's not all the same people, but many of the same faces. And then you go up on panels and you hear people talk, and you know, for those of us who bounce around to these places, and I know that's not you, Sarge, but it is for a lot of the other people that are paying attention in here. You can tell where they're getting their information, right? A lot of people are repeating stuff they heard over at Pavarotti's. A lot of stuff are repeating stuff they heard from Lana, and very rarely do they represent that that's where they got the information from. They usually try to pass it off as their own.
Yeah, and I don't do that. If I pick anything up, I'm very happy and respectful to give people the credit, because with Lana, she's put in a lot of work, and even though she's looking at it from a different angle than me, it's nice to see that 417 is a bright spot in her observation. Whether or not she sees it from my point of view doesn't matter to me. The fact that she's a very intelligent woman and she acknowledges nothing from 351 to 417, that made me, I'm like, it makes me feel like I'm not the only guy that sees that. That creator who's known for looking at documents and sticking to the facts sees it herself. Maybe she does know the significance of it. I can't say that she doesn't. But I'm sure it'll hit her like a fucking hammer if she hasn't come to that conclusion yet.
Do you think Ann Taylor might take the same approach that Lana?
She already has. With Lana, as far as location of the people in the home and all, I'm telling you, folks, the timeline is the hammer, and she doesn't have to put and destroy these young women, because the young women are the proof she needs to support the timeline. The young women's texts begin at 419 during the actual crime. The police have already said that. And so if you can denote the time the crime started as 417, you can't argue against that. Unless they can show other video evidence, which if they had it, they would have posted it. They would say at 407, they picked up a dog barking. You understand? If there was
see in the Karen Reed trial that they just flat out changed the timeline right in the middle of the trial.
And here, this is her hammer. This shows that the likelihood, the reasonable doubt that Brian committed the crime is there in the timeline. That doesn't exonerate him from being present at the crime. Doesn't mean he didn't drop these people off. That could also explain why there's transfer DNA on the button snap. Maybe he dropped Kopaka off, for people that don't like to hear that. And then when he heard the scream, he was like, fuck that, I'm out of here. Right? Didn't he say, did they arrest any other people? That's been stated that he made that statement. Why did he make that statement?
Has that been verified, though?
No, but I'm just saying it is data that's been repeated, and it came right from the very beginning, from after he was released. He was like,
isn't there a lot of ways to interpret that, though?
There is, but what I guess the simple point I'm trying to make is if you're going to say that all this proves he couldn't have done it or couldn't have been there, I'm going to point out that does not say that. It says reasonable doubt exists. He couldn't have done the crime in 3 minutes and sped off.
which is the
No.
standard of guilt. So there's really no point in trying to prove he didn't do it. It's
And there's
create reasonable
yes.
doubt is the standard of guilt.
And then there's no point to prove that there was a setup. There's no point to have to actually go and prove that Dylan and Bethany moved rooms. There's no point to have to go into any of that or the con.
Okay. But there's a point to suggest it.
Yes.
Because by suggesting it, you establish reasonable doubt.
But you want to
don't
be
need to-
careful and
you don't
not
need to
move the
prove it.
timeline backwards. You got to be very careful here because you don't want the timeline to back up before 417.
Mhm.
Her about 4 a.m. needs to be solidified. The evidence has to show. If Dylan says, "Well, I had to have heard it before 17," but why would you say that? And look, if her phone has no data and Bethany's phone has no data that they admit they used to construct the crime timeline, the downloads of the phone were used in the construction of the timeline. Your argument and others' argument that this was a staged 911 call, none of that has to be proven, but it can be shown. And like the jurors said in the Karen Reed case, we don't know who killed him, but Karen didn't do it. That's the level of attention you need from the jury. Brian couldn't have done it because the timeline shows, and there's nothing arguing it didn't start at 417.
I personally think that if the jurors believe that that 911 call was staged, or that those roommates were sitting there telling a lie when they said they don't know that the other people in the house were dead. If those jurors know that those kids knew and are lying to the authorities when they're on the phone, isn't that enough reasonable doubt right there? Like, why are they doing that? How
I know.
They were
who's
drunk. They were
lying
under the
about.
influence of alcohol. There's a lot of ways where you can skirt around that and woulda, coulda, shoulda, and leave little side
Yeah, but
roads that you'll never
I think
answer.
if you're going to go the route of they were hiding drugs, now you're introducing another motive, though. I mean, if they had enough drugs that required that kind of a cover up and that involves that many people, because like I said, it's not just Dylan and Bethany that are participating in this. It's all those kids that are going to show up on the Prime interview, on the Prime special. It's Hunter and Emily now too that have endorsed this. We didn't know anything. We had no idea that there was any dead people in the house. And it would, if drugs is the reason why they were doing that, it can't be $100 worth of drugs. We're probably talking about significant amounts, a lot of people involved. And now you've created a motive that's a lot stronger than the theories about
the jury, can I just say though, you're simple stupid is the best way to win a jury over. If you listen to these jurors, you'll notice that a lot of testimony was brought forward that didn't have any relevance or was useless or even embarrassing by the prosecution. And that's what you try to avoid as a defense attorney. You definitely want to focus the jury on what shows reasonable doubt your client didn't commit the crime. It's not
There's
your
no
job to
proof
solve
of
the
drugs,
crime.
though. I mean,
It just isn't your job to solve the crime.
unless somebody steps up and says, "Hey, yeah, I went over there to help hide the, some drugs," but can Ann Taylor introduce drugs when there's just whether it's
in
true
her
or not?
alternative suspect argument, she may be able to connect it to some kind of cartel behavior, sex trade, drug trade. Sure.
She ain't got. If a cartel or the AB, and this I have full knowledge of, if they did this, there would be no Dylan alive and there would be no Bethany alive. They will not.
No, you don't know that because if she said she looked right at him and said, "I'm here to help," right?
Then
I mean,
that-
so there's so many misnomers in this case that you can't exclude the prior knowledge that some event was going to happen. These two girls' reaction may all be based on not realizing the extent of what may happen, right? And being caught off fucking guard. Like they knew people were going to come and settle up some issue with money or drugs. And they never, in their hearts of hearts, could ever have thought
based on what we know,
right?
Don't you think it's likely that the defense has an expert that's supposed to be able to recover all the Snapchats that we can't see, and there's redacted text that we haven't seen yet, and we know the Dave and the WSU Kim, what we've heard from them. It certainly couldn't be a shocker if it came out in the trial that they were telling people they're all dead, right? Like texting their friends, they're all dead.
If
Oh
they're
shit,
saying
they're all
that, yeah,
dead.
that's a huge issue.
That's a bombshell in my opinion.
But
But
that doesn't
I'm
really ring
I'm
true
expecting that to come out because I think
I don't think so.
Well,
Because when she contacted Hunter and that other girl, the girl asked her, "Do I need to come get you?" And the girl said that she showed up. She knew they were scared, but her and Hunter walked to the house, and they saw them out front with their hands on their face. They could see they were scared. So that testimony kind of contradicts whether they had prior knowledge of them being dead and they communicated that to the outside
But
world.
I just don't
Unless
believe
that
a
witness
goddamn
is
thing any
lying.
of those kids are saying though, because her and Hunter are also saying that they had no idea what was going on in that house. They believed that it was just one roommate passed out. They're playing along, and I just, well, as you know, Sarge,
I
Hunter
agree
grabbed a
with it.
knife. Hunter grabbed a knife for what? You know, and he's out here telling us that he didn't see nothing, didn't know nothing.
No,
No,
I
I
look
think
at. I
he
think
knew.
everything here has a suspicious angle to it because nothing is circular logic. It's all square.
I will
you
say
gotta
that
turn
the
corners.
behavior of all these kids suggests that they don't think those text messages are coming out because they're still selling that narrative, right? They're still pushing that. And that if anything like that comes out, they're going to get caught in a lie. But they might be sadly mistaken. I'm hoping that does come out.
I'm not so sure that it's going to get down into that minutia because you really start to lose the interest of the jury, and you really want that jury to be able to latch onto something that's exonerative to your client. And you know, yes, their behavior is suspicious. Yes, the 8-hour wait is suspicious. If the button snap is brass, it took more than a day to get it tested. That's suspicious and questionable.
But Sarge,
Everything you
now
can
we're
point to all of
talking
that.
people that were at the scene of the crime, inside the house, lying to the police about what's going on. That it doesn't get any better as far as reasonable doubt to me.
No, that doesn't mean. See, no, that still doesn't give Brian reasonable doubt that they lied. It doesn't remove him from the crime scene. How was he not acting in concert with them? Wait. How can you say he wasn't acting in concert with their knowledge? You can't.
Do what?
No matter what you say about these girls, you have to provide reasonable doubt that his presence couldn't be at all possible. In other words, so you're going to show all this, but so just take that one point I made. Okay, everything you think about these girls are true. Show me how that doesn't mean they weren't involved with Brian Koberger.
Because there's no connection with Brian Koberger, so why would they be lying to on his behalf?
They didn't have burner phones.
I
See,
mean,
what I'm saying is you got to be careful with
Good
doors
point.
you walk through because you're opening up other doors of potentiality, and that confuses the jury. Is it fair? You fair enough? That's why when I try to disseminate these facts, I'm always looking for what's simple. I'm not looking for a conclusion to reinforce what I want to think or what I do think, but I'm looking for information that speaks for itself, unbiased to my opinion.
well, I mean, Dylan has been described as the only living person that can identify
Right.
the intruder. So the more you can do to discredit her and prove that she's a liar, the better off you're going to be, right?
She cannot identify any. She can
Well, they're going to
identify
claim that she's
an
going to
eyebrow.
identify him via his eyebrows. That's what they're going to
No,
claim.
sir, they're not. No, sir, they're not.
She
Well, they
sees
said
She's
that.
not. No, she's
She's
going to say
seen
she
one
saw someone
eyebrow.
with bushy eyebrows, but that's not going to be out. She can't point at Brian and say that's the guy I saw his picture.
No.
She didn't recognize his mugshot. And
Correct.
she thought
And
something would jump out at her.
she
if
noticed
it
that
was
big
him.
ass nose.
Yeah.
Let me point this out. Nobody specifically said they saw Richard Allen either. They got people to get up on the stand and say we saw somebody roughly this age, roughly this height, and they a description that was somewhat similar to Richard Allen, and that was good enough for him
There was a
combined with his
video.
confessions. But
There was a
he got
video of a
convicted.
man on a bridge, and there was a dumbass bitch sitting in the jury that went ahead
No.
and said, "Oh, I don't think he's guilty, but I want to give the family closure. I know her."
In all fairness to Lana again, Lana provided a video from the bridge that shows the person that crossed that bridge walking beyond the young girls and saying, "Hi, how are you?" And the girls respond. and that person, you can't see them anymore, but you can hear them walking by them, continuing as they turn and walk down that trail. So the last video image that what Lana put forward, to me, that was exculpatory evidence for whoever that person on the bridge was.
That is
They
not the
acknowledged each
video
other.
the
They
juror
acknowledged.
seen.
What's that?
That's not the video the juror seen.
That's the point. That's the point.
What
And that
they
piece of
seen-
information is simple, and it shows the actions of those that you're pointing fingers at, and those that are the victims. And
Well, my
it shows
point
a
is that
scenario
the
of
jurors that
interaction
found
that
him
is
guilty
not.
obviously thought that people were identifying Richard Allen.
I'm
the
in
jurors-
Indiana, and I know one of the, and I'm not going to say her name. I know one of the females that was on the jury. I
And
told
did she
Dego
think
this.
that they identified Richard Allen in that bridge guy video?
She didn't think he was guilty.
Oh,
But
that's right.
she wanted to give closure to the family because it had been 7 years, and he will get an appeal, and all the things the judge did not allow in, and she did not allow a lot in, but because they wanted to give, and I understand that. Let me say this. I understand wanting to give the families closure, but you do not put an innocent man in prison. You don't put him in Westville, and go, well, he'll get an appeal. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, you're a dumb bitch. You think about that. What if you were him? Would you want somebody just putting you in there?
I like it when you say dumb bitch. Your voice and that language don't seem to go together very well, but I'd love to hear it again.
Right?
She is a dumb bitch.
All
I mean,
right.
And everybody should think about this. It could be your loved one, and just don't come to Indiana, because when Mike Tyson was on trial, I knew he was going to be found guilty because my dad's friend was on the jury and he just didn't like him. So he voted guilty. People in Indiana really aren't that fucking smart. Sorry.
Juries scare the shit out of me, to be honest with you, because I think generally you're going to have a bunch of people on the jury that aren't going to be that smart. I don't think you get too many juries where all 12 of them are highly intellectual.
Well, I mean, it's not going to take a rocket scientist to figure out, look, they don't have any video or a picture or an eyewitness of Brian Koberger walking in the house and unaliving everyone and then walking out bloody or naked. They have zero evidence he was in that house. And that, I mean, you can go, that was his car, that's his car, hey, that's his car, and that's his car over there. Look, it's him. No.
It feels to me like that's exactly what they did in the Richard Allen trial, though. Now, they did have confessions.
Richard Allen's having a, he's not having
He
the
did
greatest
confess to
of
the
time.
crime, right?
No, but you could equate the confession and the DNA to the same. They both carry the same kind of weight in people's minds, probably.
He was eating his own shit.
Even though scientifically it's proven that confessions are not reliable, and scientifically it's proven that trace DNA is not reliable. They're both sort of floating in that same. They're not really reliable, but people still.
Here's the thing: if they believe the guy in the bridge was him, that's important, and that's why the timeline in the Koberger case is so paramount. If they think that car is Brian's, then they need something like a baseball bat kind of a crack in the head to look at to say that car ain't even run. Why are they even bringing up the car?
Well, the other thing was the judge with her thumb on the scale too. You need the judge to give you a fair crack at the jury, and if the judge is going to put the thumb on the scale, that's what the big difference was in the Richard Allen trial.
I didn't mean you, Clifton Mayo. I'm sure you're very intelligent. Just people in Delphi. I mean, like I said, I understand wanting to give a family closure. I get that. There are 4 families that lost a son and 3 daughters. But you don't do it on an innocent man. And Richard Allen, which is not having the greatest time of his life in Westville right now, because
Oh, we
when
lost
you
that.
commit crimes against children, whether it's abuse, sexual, rape, there are inmates that take that personal, and they take it out on them.
Jesse jumped down
Oh,
just
I
because
thought you
he
kicked him.
no. I didn't even think he was going to come back, but he came back. But he jumped down because he didn't want to get kicked. That's
You know,
kind of
'cause
funny. Too bad she didn't catch on from Jesse's particular point of view. No matter what, Jesse, every night I'm a winner. Poor Diane, she was in the middle of a sentence. Bam! Out there she goes. Oh my God. Richard Allen ate his own waste. That's pretty wild. Plus like 40 confessions. I don't know, but it's weird. Oh, poor Diane. She oh man. Well, yeah, Jess, see, that wasn't nice of you because you know it's kind of crazy. It's that equal force, opposite whatever. That was said. That definitely was said. That's common in isolation. Yeah, and she was brought to the eyebrow statement by the policeman. Not she didn't offer that up of her own free will. She didn't recollect that from her memory. That was put forward. So was the Bakalov. That was put forward by the police before she ever mentioned it. Matter of fact, her description to Bethany was like a ski mask. So it's quite crazy, the stuff that they put forward. Someone was telling everyone that night in the dark not to search the direction where they were found. That may be when it came to the yeah, they had baklava. Thank you there, Miss JCN. And the women that have made that comment, I definitely appreciate that. I like to be known for my brain, though, not my body. Holy shit. It's an unfinished till it's all revealed. And I think that case, another case that's going to have to continue to go through a court system that's usually, at best, half-assed. Oh, pardon me. Balaclava. Yeah, balaclava. I don't know how to say that word. Thank you very much. There you go. Yep, I'm not just some pretty face. I know what you're talking about, Jacqueline. They kept the searchers from going where they would have been found. I think that whole case is fucked up from the floor up. I think in their own way they tortured that man. And I think he just broke down. Oh, I appreciate that, Chris. I'm smarter than I look. And you definitely do not look smarter than I think even a rock looks based on that picture with your bare chest. That's just a bit freakish. Huh. What is Dago's Venmo? Is SRB or any of the mods in here? It should be pinned. Is it not pinned at the top of the stream from Twizzle Stick? It is in there. And yeah. Let's see here. Interesting as always. So yeah, the part of the stream in the beginning was to see if people could help Dego cover his bombshell of a utility bill. It's like they dropped a hand grenade on his head. And our goal was $1,600, of which I would match dollar for dollar to pay that bill. I don't know what the total is. I do got some people in here that have done their part. They've done 50 here, 50, 20, whatever they can do. And I think that's awesome. That can't be anything but well appreciated. And what else? That's about it, really. What else did I have? The Middle East. I want to just cover these points because these points are valid points that need to be pointed out. So far, since this guy, whether you like him or not, no, it was more than that. It was at $168 from what I was adding to Seahawk. But anyway, whether you like this president or not, let's just show you what he's accomplished so far in the few months he's been there. Did you really send 200, Jesse? If you did, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So that makes it almost 400. Means I'm in for 400. Yeah, whatever. I bet. I don't know what that means. What was I going to say? Okay, so when it comes to the current president, and Thai money, it's worth about 50 cents. In other words, Dego now has a debt. He's going to send him $200 in Thai money, and when Dego goes to exchange it, he's going to owe money. You son of a bitch. Apparently, he stopped the war in the Congo and Rwanda. He definitely stopped the war between India and Pakistan. He's definitely facilitated and interfered and stopped the war between Iran and Israel. And now he's only left with the war between Ukraine and Russia. So whether people like the guy or not, or voted for him or not, he's probably the president that's brought more world peace than any other president. And the fact that he did take out Iran's nuclear facilities is awesome, because today he came out and openly said that there's no more sanctions on Iran to sell their oil, that he wants Iran to sell their oil on the open market again, that he wants Iran to earn the money because they need to rebuild their country after this conflict. And that's because the nuclear facilities have been destroyed. And he wants Iran to get on the track and be part of the international community. And so for anyone that doesn't like the guy or has got some fucking sick thought in their head that he's a Russian asset or whatever your problem is with the guy, you have to give credit where credit's due. And I think on Friday, someone from Rwanda is coming to the White House. And for those of you that missed it, he completely humiliated the guy from the Congo, openly humiliated the guy, or not the Congo, but South Africa, for targeting white people and white farmers and killing them. So he went right after the South African leader for his racism against the white people in that country, humiliated the guy publicly, played a TV of the guy's own words, racistly wanted to attack and kill white people in that country. And Trump played that fucking speech right in front of the guy while he was in the Oval Office in front of the media. So like the guy or not like the guy, he's the only president I've ever seen do everything that can possibly be done on the world stage to calm this fucking world down and to get people to work together instead of against each other, to get people to work as far as trade for the betterment of people, not for the betterment of the military industrial complex. And that even John F. Kennedy has got his thumbs up in his grave. John F. Kennedy is saluting what Trump is doing because he's doing a tremendous job. All of his tariffs, and if those tariffs stay in effect and those tariffs can break $150 billion a year in income, he's going to remove the income tax or try to remove the income tax on people earning under $100,000 a year. So he's really on track and he's really doing the right thing. The Middle East has finally got the first chance in a long time, in decades, to live peacefully. No, I mean John F. Kennedy, the dead president, is saluting him from his grave because he's doing things in a way that's productive for mankind, not for simple profit of the military-industrial complex. He opened and removed the sanctions on Syria, and Syria now can join the international community. So he's doing things over there in the Middle East that no other president even would dream of doing. And you got to give the guy credit where credit's due. And I did want to cover that because someone had brought up the Middle East the other day, and I didn't really get to it. Yeah, most people don't understand the intricacies and the depth of the troubles around the globe. It's more than just religious differences, and so America plays a big role in the world. We're 4% of the world's population. And we have the most, I should have played this. I didn't think I didn't save it. They do this, is it Instagram? Let's see if this comes up. Let me see if it comes up here. We're 4% of the world's population, folks. Let me show you something. Because people often ask, should we be scared or worried or blah, 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 blah. But let me show you something about your country that you may not be aware of. And many people aren't aware of it. Of the total aircraft around the globe, if you add up every aircraft in every single military around the globe, we virtually have more aircraft than everybody combined. So you got 4, 7, 8, 9. Call that 10, 11, 12, 13. The top 8 countries have as many aircraft as us. That number is low. The number is actually 14,453, I believe. But we have 14,000 aircraft. Russia has 4,200. China has 3,300. And I know for a fact that 13,000 is wrong. But that's what I mean when people ask, should we worry about China? Should we worry about Russia? Should we worry? No, they cannot project the kind of military power that we can project. And the reason is, even though we're only 4% of the world's population, we're number one in everything. And everything. Economically, industrial might, natural resources, military resources, the power to project military forces, the power to project peace, the power to airlift food to nations stricken by disaster. Nobody comes close to our little 4% that we are. And that's the one thing I think that's been taken away from the education in our schools, from our kids. We are one of the smallest populated countries on earth when it comes to significant countries. And we are absolutely the most significant and important group of people the planet has ever seen. There's no nation that can make the claims that I'm sharing with you now. Yeah, well, guess what, Mama? Get out. If you know, it's not talking about Trump, Mama. And this is what I mean. If you're a left-winger, get the fuck out of my stream. I don't want you left-wing fucks in here. Go suck Barack Obama's cock. Go suck the fucking Canadian Prime Minister's cock. Don't come in my stream, you ignorant motherfuckers. Just get your shit out. You Canadian people with your 250% tariff on my milk, get the fuck out of my stream and don't come back. I don't want anything to do with you cunts. This is talk about America, the greatest nation ever to be bestowed upon humanity, the greatest nation for good, and the only nation in the globe that can promote good and ensure good happens. And although for many years we've been on the wrong track, we finally are being put on the right fucking track. And if you people can't stand it, then get the fuck out. Go cut your dicks off and go hang out with the fucking left wingers. All right? Abort your children, do all that happy fucking horse shit, and just don't come back. Take your Canadian fucking flag, get the fuck out of my stream. I don't want anything to do with people like that. You are the most immoral, inept, blissfully ignorant group of fucking people the world has ever seen. And the only reason you're allowed to live like that is because the might of America protects your fucking willy ass. Get out. Okay? Get the fuck out of here. My taxes protect your fucking country. Get the fuck out. I'm tired of you fucking pussies out there. Just tired of this. You're hearing all this good news and all these things that we're doing, and you got some fucking problem with that? You absolutely need to get the fuck. Let me help you. Get the fuck out of here. I ain't having that fucking shit. You ain't talking shit about my country or my president. And yeah. Get the fuck out of here. Not having it, man. It's the time for your fucking pussy behavior is over. It's done. You're not telling me to put something across my fucking face ever again. You're not telling my kids it's okay to fucking chop their dick off when they're fucking 6 years old. And you're not telling my fucking daughters of the world that it's okay to kill their baby and fuck any random fucking dude they want. Hell no. That shit's got to end. Okay? Personal responsibility, honesty, and decency rules the fucking day. And you finally got a man in office, whether you like him or not, whether you like his style or not, I don't give a fuck. He's doing more good for the world than any other leader this country's had in my fucking lifetime. And yours too. And so you can dislike the fucking guy, but you got to respect what the fuck he's doing. And if you can't have enough decency to respect what he's doing, then you shouldn't even be in here in my stream. I tell people openly, I am a fucking prick. I am a dick. And I ain't fucking having it no more. You fucking out of towner fucking foreigners, get the fuck out of here, man. Stay away. Jesse, you're totally welcome. I know Jesse's Canadian. And anybody is welcome. But don't you start talking shit about my country. We're stopping fucking wars. We're saving lives. We're feeding the hungry. We're bringing countries back into the fold that have been denied. Denied to sell their fucking oil. Denied to buy their fucking shit on the open market. That includes Iran and Syria. And Trump is taking care of that. Doing the right thing by those countries. And nobody else was doing that. And yeah, did it take us taking out their nuclear plant? Yeah, because that was the fucking threat. Those lunatics, if they had a weapon, would have used it. Look at how many thousands of missiles did they throw at Iran or Israel and the population? What was Israel doing? Targeting their military might. Israel wasn't bombing the fucking citizens of Tehran. When you got people that are willing to kill innocent fucking men, women, and children, those people need to be brought to fucking heel. They need to be moved. Gone. Get out of here. And that's how it should be. Right? Yeah. So for some of you, don't be confused. I love this fucking country. I had all kinds of fucking issues. I was a dragged down fucking loser of a criminal drug addict. And this country gave me a second chance. And people in this country helped me along that path. And so anybody ever come in here and think any different about my views of this country and the people in this country, even though I refer to people as 5.63 billion morons, you also hear me say over and over and over again that the blissfully ignorant have every bit of the capacity to think and see the truth as I do, that they're no less smart than me. Their blissful ignorance is a choice. But I do not consider myself smarter than anyone. King Christopher, why can't you get in? 5.63 billion fucking more. Look, I got that banner. Where is it? I made Carl the king. Carl was the queen. Look, I made Carl the queen of the 5.63 billion morons. Let's see here. Let me hit live. Does it come up? Yeah, 5.63 billion morons on social media. They'd rather listen to a Pavarotti than look at the details in these criminal cases. And the details in the criminal cases tell a story. And people like Lana, I think Jules, I think Dego, myself, there's many of us out here that are concerned with the details of the case and looking to see whether those details are beyond a reasonable doubt. And that to me is looking at true crime. Not running around trying to look at pictures that are blown up 800 times their normal fucking size and seeing shadows running around in fucking bushes. I ain't looking at shit like that. I'm not talking like that. I'm not going to impugn people at the band field. I'm not going to impugn people at the grub truck or at the fucking frat, to which I have no evidence that they were involved, nor to the people that are making those accusations. And I see that to be a complete waste of millions and millions of fucking brain hours dedicated to streamers that are doing that. The people that need to be held to account in here are the fucking murderer or murderers that were supposed to be discovered by the investigators and the fucking law enforcement of Moscow, Idaho, and they failed at this point. It appears they failed because they didn't do their job properly. You know, you look at the Karen Reed case. We know Karen didn't do it, and they failed in their investigation. And to the exclusion of all else, they chased Karen like a dog would chase his fucking tail. And that's the problem with our law enforcement across this nation. And we in true crime are in the best position to continue to point that out and to get people to change by getting these people the fuck out of those offices. Okay? That's the power we have that's unrealized because we don't focus on that. And that's the primary reason this stream exists. And I'm going to stand to it. I don't care if you like Trump or not. That shouldn't even be, you don't got to like me if what I'm telling you is factual. If what I'm telling you is unobstructed common sense, if that message resonates for truth, then that's all that matters. The fucking messenger shouldn't really be your fucking point of contention. Right? Yeah. She was found not guilty. And the people that presented that case are the crooks. They're as guilty and they're as complicit in the murder of John because they didn't do their job. So to me, they're complicit after the fact. You know, Ivana, he got dropped. They dropped a huge electric bill on his head and turned off his electricity. And so I said I would come out here and see if I couldn't raise some funds. His bill is $1,600, and I said I would raise funds, and the goal is $1,600, and I would go dollar for dollar any donations to pay that bill. And that's what it was about Dego. So if you got a couple dollars you want to throw in, there is a link at the top of the stream. You know, yeah, you don't even, you know, here's the thing is the office, the person in it. Do you know how many unreported murders and crimes and fucking child kidnappings happened in this country 4 years before he got in there? Do you know how much devastation and damage was done around the world with these wars that we support? We don't support openly as American citizens, but our politicians don't tell us about it. Our media keeps quiet about it. And people around the world are being killed in your name, the name of America. And that's just fucking bullshit, man. I don't want people in Rwanda, in the Congo, in South America, South Africa, anywhere. I don't want our defense industries. I don't want our businesses helping support them fucking wars. Because that's America. Those people that live in those countries see Americans. And in my name, I don't want that to happen. In my name, I don't want to see these wars going on. And I don't want our country, any company here profiting from it. And that's what's been going on for decades and decades and decades and decades. This guy's bringing an end to it. And thank God someone's finally doing it. Listen, and with Dego, to me, it wasn't even a question as to whether I could try to help the guy or not. He's got an issue, and I figured I might with my little stream. I'll tell you what I mean by my little stream. My little stream is your little stream. And in our little corner of this vastness of the 5.63 billion occupants of social media, and the vastness of the social media empire all over the globe, our little corner is 2,820 people. We have 208 videos from this stream, and 2,820 of you are a part of this subscription. And in our little fucking corner here, our little micro dot of existence, we try to do what we can. We try to bring information that's factual. We try to present a reasonable explanation to the information that's available to us. Most importantly, we try to be fair. And to me, just attacking or discounting this guy because you don't like him and talking shit about my country, nah. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that's helped. I haven't got any reply from Dego. I'm thinking maybe his phone died or something. I mean, yo. Yeah, I don't know how to contact the guy at this point if his phone don't work. Let me check while I'm in here. Somebody sent me an email, and I haven't checked my email on the screen. Poor Diane. I hope Diane is Twizzle 6 sent you. But I did not get was it Karen? Pardon me. Right. And to be very honest with you, I'm going to say this right now. And as an American, I don't want my cars built in Canada if you guys are going to not let me export products to your country. If I got to pay a fucking tariff to export my fucking dairy products to your country, then I don't want to import your shit. If you're gonna tariff us like that and then act like the tariffs that America's doing is criminal, or if your industries are collapsing now because we're saying be fair, no tariff, then fuck you. If you can't play fair, and my country's got to pay you, me the consumer's got to pay you 250% fucking tariff to sell you a block of cheese, no, then I don't want you buying my cheese. I mean, that whole country does $200 billion a year in trade for us. $200 billion a year. Trump could pay those farmers to throw that fucking cheese in the garbage. Okay, we could take that food from our own tax dollars instead of paying you tariffs and letting you buy from us. Shut down the fucking trade, and the shit that you don't buy, we'll buy, and send it to countries that need it until you stop with your tariffs. I completely agree with that. I can, maybe you guys don't understand what a tariff is. And that's just too bad. We can't sell a bike in Colombia without 150% tariff on the motorcycle? No. Then you want to sell your shit into my country? No. And finally, there's a president that's standing up there and making the same argument everyday citizens were making for years. What do you mean I can't sell cars in India? I can't sell computers in India unless I build a plant there and employ Indians. Well, then the same applies for the shit you want to export to our country. Right? Yeah, Canada's been, and look, that's like California. California and Canada are on the same fucking trail of destruction. And these governments are wasting your money, just like American governments wasted our money for decades, man. It's just wasted it. And then they want to attack Elon Musk because Elon Musk is going into the government and trying to do an accounting of how our money is spent. And half of the country thinks that that's criminal. Get the fuck out of here. Y'all need a good bitch slapping. Right? We can't sell our cars into Europe. You can't sell your cars into Japan without massive tariffs. No, he's doing absolutely the right thing. And I don't care if you like the guy or not. I'm no big fan of the guy. I'm not some Trumpster. But when it comes to policy, that versus, there was a North American free trade agreement made under Trump that Biden fucking ignored and threw in the garbage can. There was a $50 billion trade agreement between us and China for them to buy our farmers grain, corn, and fucking rice that Biden threw in the fucking garbage can. You want leaders in that just throw your money away and are willing to hand your money away to other countries? All these wars enriching these people in places you don't want to even know. Those wars need to end. And that's exactly what this guy's doing. And I don't give a shit if you like him or not. I'm no big fucking fan of the guy. There's things he does and says I completely fucking don't like. But on the whole of it, you could say the same about me. Right? You say the same about me. But of all the streamers out there that know Dego, I'm not the only one that knows he's having some issue. And I'm probably not the only one that's going to try to raise money for him. But I'm probably the least likely person you would have thought would do that. And I don't really fucking have an issue with that. I'm not surprised you would view me that way. But if I can help, it's reasonable, I will. And the same thing that I want my country's view, and I think that's only fair. Right? Yeah, it is a shortwave heat. Some to do Vimo. What do I have to do? Nothing half-assed. I don't know what you mean, but I did give my. Maybe she was able to contact him. Someone said that, I'll just pay his whole bill. I'm sure that person that said that, I don't know which one of you said that. I'm sure they meant that. And there's my email if you can't, and I'll try to keep getting a hold of Dego. And then, there's his link from Alicia J. Thank you, Alicia J. And thank everyone. I don't care if you gave a penny, folks. Okay. And I don't think that if you didn't give anything, there's anything wrong with that either. We all have our own story. We all live in our own shoes, and we're all able to decide to help or decide not to help. We're all able to help, and we're all able to not be able to help. There's no judgment in any of that. Whether you can or can't, whether you do or don't, is up to you and you alone, and nobody needs an explanation as to why you did or did not. I don't know how it works, nothing half-assed. That's what I mean. I don't have it either. And so that's kind of why I said, maybe she came up as spam. Older Instagrams, class invite. No, all my spam is all truly is spam. Social, I got a YouTube live on that and Match.com. Match.com sends me all kinds of shit. I did, for whatever reason, I was going to change phone companies. Verizon lowered my bill to $60 a month for my two phones. I can't believe it. I can't complain on that. It was $120. Yeah, and look at it, and I was a little nervous even bringing it up because like I come out here and I say all the time, I don't need your money. And I really mean that. But this really isn't a case of whether I don't need your money. But I think that one of our members could use help in the form of money. And that's why I did what I did. I may never do this again. There may never be an occasion to do this again. There may never be that need, or I may choose not to. Dego didn't want me to do it at all. And I said, well, it's not whether you want to or not. It's from you told me about your issue, and it's up to me to see whether I want to help or not. And this is one of the ways I wanted to try to help. I didn't have to do this. He knows that. And that's the way it is, folks. No judgment. Help or don't help. It's all the same to me. Let's see, what do we got here? We still have 152 wonderful fucking people in here. Stays on cam and he won't need that dating app. Yeah. Girls can butter a guy up and it's just crazy. I take half of what you say and discount the other half. They're saying you do have to create an account. Nothing half-assed. Tandy, he stays on cam. What did Tandy say? To say I don't appreciate the compliments would be a subjective lie that I just cannot tell a lie. So I appreciate, even look, like that one dude put his chest up there. He's bare chested trying to flex his muscles. And I made a comment to him that was rude, funny, but rude. You're all welcome to make the same comments to me. Yeah, his concern, I understand his concern. He's been accused of being a money grubber, but I think that the guy he's out here and there's a lot of people. He's disabled. He's legitimately disabled. And that doesn't mean he deserves our money, but he comes out here and he does what he can do. And he does cover a lot of different cases. And he talks about a lot of the missing children and he reviews a lot of the keeps you up to date on the police investigations. And he serves a purpose out here the best that he can. Just keep a mirror behind me. Why would I? Oh, I said, are you trying to catch a woman? Oh, I used to be a member of Match.com. And they periodically will start sending me these discounts, No, he's not a grifter, man. He's not a grifter. And I don't not take money because I'm not a grifter or I don't want money or like money. I just don't need the money. And I think I can say things on this stream that you can't say when you're monetized, and they're putting advertisements on your screen. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't monetize. I don't want that. I don't want to follow all of your fucking stupid rules. Right? That's the big reason why I don't want any of the monetization. And like I said, I've said this too. If I ever did monetize the stream, I would rather monetize the stream to give the money to people that help make this a much better stream. Because in all fairness, I am a lazy motherfucker. I mean, you see how much effort Lana puts in. You see how much effort Dego puts in. You see Clue digs up you see a lot of people, they do dig up a lot of data and they put a bigger effort in. What I do is I play the benefactor. I'm the beneficiary of their work, and that the documents that they'll put forward are what I can actually review. And it helps me then build my store knowledge on whatever topic we're talking about. So I in all fairness, these other streamers, some of the work and effort they put in, I incorporate into what I come to understand and the things I discuss. Yeah, you mean 12 gauge? 12 gauge is being educated to not think in a way that he thinks he's thinking by supporting the narrative. They told him the context, and so. Yeah, and he's a good example of the educational system gone bad. He's a nice enough guy, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Jeff is college educated too, that Jeff H. I'm sure a lot of these people are. Right? But I don't think I've been that inaccurate in any descriptions of the laws or the legal proceedings or the writings that have been put forward. And I never went to fucking school. I got a GED in jail. In jail. I took a GED without even studying for it and passed that GED in jail. Okay. I've got life's experiences that put me in places where I needed to learn certain things. Okay. And and then I just love learning. I love knowledge. That's always been, my thing. So, college, no. I remember in my GED, the teacher I was like, well, the test is in 10 days. And I've been she had a 90-day, a 3-month, for 3 months, she'd been teaching the class to prepare them for the GED. And I said, look, you don't need to prepare me for the GED. I'll do just fine. She goes, oh, really? And so then she says, okay, well, can you tell me why are there 4 seasons in our hemisphere? And I said, yeah, that's because as the earth moves around the sun, it also itself rotates and tilts forward and backwards to 23.5 degrees. I said, and it's that tilting forward and that tilting backward that gives us the different seasons. You're facing the sun, you're pulling away from the sun. And so the effective energy of the sun is altered by whether the fact you're leaning towards it or leaning back. And she just looked at me and she says, do you want to spend the next 10 days as my student teacher? I was like, sure. Look, I taught guys that couldn't read how to read with Dick and Jane books wrapped in fucking Playboy magazine covers. You're not allowed to have porn in prison. And I got the teacher to convince the fucking guy that ran the lieutenant, whoever was in charge. I got the teacher to convince him to let me wrap these fucking books, these beginner child books, in pornographic covers. To guys that could have fucking smashed me with a slap. Convicted murderers, drug dealers, couldn't read a fucking word. I taught many of those guys to read, and they were in their cells with these books. Yeah, a Dick and Jane book, man, among many others. Jack and Jill, all kinds of stuff, just to get these guys to read. I had a guy, one of the best foremen I ever had in my industry, couldn't read or write, but he could count money, but he couldn't read or write. He knew what ketchup was because as a kid, the ketchup came out of a bottle that was red. He knew what mustard was. I mean, he knows what things are, but he didn't know by the word. He knew by visual identification. He knew he could get cigarettes by saying Marlboro, but he couldn't spell it. And even though it said Marlboro on the pack, it really didn't mean anything to him. Yeah, reading is probably the most important thing that a person can do. It's so basic, but so important. You fill out an application for a job, anything, man. You need to be able to read. Yeah, I got to find out. And I can't get a hold of Dego. I don't know what to say or do. I just can't at this point. I mean, if they got a vehicle, he can't charge his phone with the car. I don't know what his situation is. I don't know. And I'll find out more. I get blocked from a ton of the on the phone to do the fire. Yeah, do what you can, nothing asked. And then I'd like to, like I asked people, show receipts for what. I mean, he'll tell me. I mean, he'll tell me what he's got in that account. I'll ask him. And I'm supposing. Let me see. Let me go to my own stream and click on my own link because I don't even know. Venmo, PayPal, Cash. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what, if anything, he's got as far as total. He'll share it with us, I'm sure. Let me see here. All right, 20 through PayPal. Thank you, Yvonne. I can donate on payday. Yeah, no, but I don't want anybody to feel like you need to do anything with your money at all. If we can help him, we can help him. If we can't, I mean, you could just pray for the guy. Keep him in good thoughts, right? If you don't like the guy, that's also available too. You don't need to like the guy. You don't need to like him. You don't need to send him anything. That's completely understandable. And anything you send or can send, for those that have, thank you. And I'll try to keep you updated if I can get in touch with him. I'm unable to, and I'm not in his state. I can't even go. I can't. I can't go to where he is. Let's see. I'll try to make a call and see what happens.
Please leave your message.
Yeah, see. As far as I can tell, his phone is off. As soon as he charges his phone, he'll be able to see anything. All right. Well, listen, folks. Thank you for everything you've done for Dego. And I did post my email address in here a few times. Right? heavykennedy@gmail.com. Yeah, see, he's probably that far a little further from me. I'm in New York. And I don't know exactly where he is anyway. Like, I don't know his address or anything. Doc Bourne, he probably went to sleep early. Yeah, and he has some health issues too, folks, especially with the humidity and breathing. And he's got other issues more than just, people don't think he does, but, or maybe don't know that he does. And I'm not trying to like this shit out on the street, but, these things all accumulate over time. And he got a little fucked up and behind on this bill. And I wish he'd have said something sooner, right? And he didn't, because for whatever reason, pride or humility or whatever it may be. And it is what it is. Okay, that's it for tonight. Oh God, I'm gonna eat me some Oreo cookies and a Twinkie, and I'll be back relatively soon. Yeah, he's got his CPAP and all kind. Yeah, see, so some people know a little bit more. And that link is there at the top. The PayPal link is there. Nothing half-assed. Twizzlestick posted it. I want to thank Twizzle. Thank the mods, the new mods. Alicia, I think you're a new mod. I did give new moderation to people with new blue wrenches, I call you, in here. We'll probably have to start putting in some more new blue wrenches. Doesn't mean you have to moderate the channel or anything, but the blue wrench is like a thank you. Up until now, it's never been a thank you for anything more significant than just being in here all the time. But yeah, all right, folks. Good evening, good night, and remember, be good or be bad. If you're going to be bad, don't get caught. We'll talk to you again. Bam! Sassy Cassie. Hugs and kisses.